Good evening and welcome to the January 2018 Transfer Deadline Day stream, brought to you by the Football Forecast in association with halftimecuppa.com and Crowfer Media. We have a fantastic show lined up for you. We will be running from 9-ish o'clock now all the way up to the deadline and just a little bit past it when things start calming down. Joining me tonight, I am very, very blessed to have a whole host of panelists joining me throughout tonight's stream. But to kick us off, we have Charlie Pumphrey.
Afternoon or evening.
Afternoon. Evening, yeah, whatever it is. Charlie is joining us this evening. And along with Charlie, we have Joseph Buck, who is in the call. I don't know if he's actually speaking right now, but he's here. And I'm sure he'll be joining us shortly. And also completing our panel for the time being, we have Mr. Airplane himself, Liam Jury, who, where's the airplane gone, Liam?
Oh, I've left the airport because I'm completing a deadline day move to somewhere. So.
Okay, so, well, we might as well start off talking about planes. Slimani, Liam, I hear you've got some news on Slimani.
Oh, yeah, he's passed his medical at Newcastle in the last 5 minutes or so, according to Sky sources, that is.
Did you see him at the airport?
No, I didn't, no.
Oh, okay.
Wait. That made it sound as if he has seen someone at the airport. Get him in. Get in the predictions as to who Liam Drury saw at the airport.
And of course, yes, please join in the discussions and the debates. Feel free to send in your comments, questions, and anything else really to us in the YouTube chat section if you're watching live. And you can also send in all of those to us via Twitter at officialTFF and as well at halftime_cuppa. Liam's just muted himself. Fantastic. There we go. So yeah, it's been an interesting transfer window in general, but as deadline days go, it's been a very interesting one. Charlie, what's your thoughts overall with how today's gone?
It's been an interesting one. I think that was expected to happen has kind of gone through and happened. So nothing's really fallen through. There were a couple of ones which I don't think were ever going to happen. Like don't think the Mahrez deal was ever going to happen, was it? As much as everyone was huffing and puffing about it happening. And I think, I don't think we'll see anything too crazy now between here and the end of the window.
Yeah, I think it's certainly been a really sort of interesting one. We have seen movements. So whereas unlike previous years, sometimes you don't see the movements. We've seen the big movements, obviously, Aubameyang, Giroud. So we've seen some movements today. It's just whether anything else gets done over the line. And we sure hope that there's some late drama at least. Also going on at the exact same time, we have a couple of Premier League games and, of course, a very, very good game. I don't know if anyone has had the chance to see the Tottenham game or has the Tottenham game on in the background. It's a very, very good game so far. Tottenham find themselves 2-0 up and have been very, very good. Charlie, are you watching that one at all?
No, I watched the first half.
You watched the first, yeah.
So I'm busy for the second half.
Just talk to us about that opening goal, because that was something.
Just hitting them quickly out of the blocks, and United just didn't deal with it, which is crazy for a Mourinho team. You'd think it's not the sort of expectation of a United team of any kind. Never mind a Mourinho one.
Yeah. So obviously Tottenham 2-0 up against Man United. Interestingly, just seen this one. Bournemouth find themselves 3-0 up at Chelsea. No. Very interesting. I can't believe
you haven't seen that.
And Ake scored, who's on my bench on my fantasy league. So that's not great. Everton are 2-0 up against Leicester.
Oh, Southampton.
Newcastle 1-0 up against Burnley. Or actually, Newcastle are now 2-0 up. Lascelles just scoring. And guess who got the assist? Their new signing, Kennedy, with the assist there. So 2-0 up there. And Southampton 1, Brighton 1, as you've just alluded to. And Stoke and Watford are 0-0. So plenty of Premier League action going on in the background. And we'll keep you up to date on any of the scores and any action that happens in the meantime. So, Liam, let's get your thoughts. How do you think today has gone in terms of a transfer deadline day?
It's been an interesting one. It's been quite enjoyable to watch, being a neutral. I don't support Premier League teams. It's been exciting to see how the days unfolded, really, with moves, with like big money moves going around and being confirmed. Yeah, it's been an interesting one.
Yeah, and what's been the standout deal for you then today?
I would say Aubameyang, probably. That Aubameyang, Giroud and Batshuayi transfer triangle. That's probably been the standout for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll come on to the transfer triangle. We've got plenty of time to discuss that a little bit later on. Charlie, would you agree?
Can I ask Martin? Oh!
Yes, you're in. You're in.
Thank you.
I can hear.
Right. Okay, that's it. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Joe. One way to make an entrance. You know what? Let's cut to Joe then. Joe, let's hear your thoughts on how deadline day has gone so far and what's been the standout moments for you.
Well, until I'd say 10 minutes ago, I was a bit nervous. The whole Slimani thing, there was reports that wasn't going to go through. But then if Liam said it's gone through, then you know who's to argue with that. And Jamal Lascelles just scored. So, you know, I am happy. But there's lots of big deals. I think someone said before that, you know, massive deals for January with Aubameyang, Sanchez and all that. So it's been a good window all around, I think.
Definitely agree with that. And Charlie, what was the standout move I was going to say to date, but maybe to minute. What's the standout move right now?
As it stands, to be fair, the Sanchez Mkhitaryan deal stands out as the biggest move, really, in the players of those two teams. You look at Sanchez, the leading light of Arsenal, the Man United managed to swap him for someone who wasn't even getting in the first team there, which is a really interesting situation. Two players that are almost the same age. To the date, I think it is almost the same age. You know, definitely, I hope both sides are happy, and it's probably the biggest move that you wouldn't have predicted before the window.
Just chucking another name out there, Van Dijk, Virgil van Dijk. Is that just not quite as high profile, or?
I think it remains to be seen. It was an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
To the sort of profile of player they were getting, but it's it remains to be seen with Van Dijk whether he settles in and takes charge of that back line the way that everyone expects him to.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Has anyone seen the Chelsea score, by the way?
Yes, 3-0.
That is mental, that.
Unless it's suddenly changed.
No, it's 3-0. That is... I hate Bournemouth. That was it.
There's a story there.
Yeah, before we move on to, obviously, what's gone on today in terms of transfer news and all that sort of stuff, how have you followed it today, Charlie? How have you followed all the ins and outs? How have you spent transfer deadline day?
The usual places, Twitter, the usual ITK accounts giving you waffle, but then also through like a few websites such as shameless plug. Have you got a soundboard for a shameless plug?
I need to sort one out for one. I'm sure we can
halftimecupper.com.
Yeah, no, Charlie's done some fantastic coverage today on there. I really enjoyed your halftime podcast. You've done 3 topics today. What was the 3 topics?
Was I remember this? So the first one was whether the MLS is a viable place for young Premier League players to develop. The other one was whether we should abolish transfer windows. Controversial, but kind of the point. And whether we should establish a European Super League. So a nice big spread of details.
Some great topics. So I listened in live and I really enjoyed it, and definitely worth a listen. Let's hear what Joe has been up to on transfer deadline day. What have you been up to, Joe?
I was at uni this morning for 2 hours, so that was the whole morning almost gone with that. And then I was donating blood. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I've spent my day just on Twitter, and that's been about it. And now watching the scores come in and hope that Newcastle can keep their lead. Oh, Leicester have got one back against Everton.
So just going back to obviously giving blood, that's such a great cause. So top marks to you there.
Yeah, I think everyone should do it. Like, obviously, I know people who can't, but if you can, just get down there. It takes 20 minutes, half an hour, and it's really easy to do, and it doesn't hurt. I know that's what puts people off potentially, but it's easy done.
Okay, well, you heard it here from Joe. How was uni today? What did you do? Did you do any deadline stuff?
No, we just started the new topic, so it was just about news writing. It was really easy, to be fair. The lecturer even said so. He said the course is a piece of piss, so mind me language if there's children watching. Hi, Max. So yeah, that was it really.
Cool. Let's hear from Liam now then. Liam, talk to us. What have you been up to today?
I went to college for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I've just been on Twitter and Sky Sports Transfer Centre, just looking through the deals that are being done, what they were saying about it. That's mainly it.
Cool. And did you do any deadline day stuff in college today?
I did actually. I do have a deadline tomorrow, so yeah, I did.
Love that. Well, anyway, looks like we have another panelist has just joined us. Sorry, Ben Jones, if he's there.
Hello there, Danny. I am here.
Excellent. Long time no speak. I'm really glad to have you on this evening.
Yeah, no, really good to be here. As I say, yeah, been too long.
Yeah, no, man. Listen, I think you're going to enjoy a bit of this coming up. Certainly, Josh will as well. So I've got a little snippet which I need to share with you guys a little bit later on. Ben, how have you spent today then? What have you done deadline day wise?
Well, I've had a nice relaxing day, just watching the action. Really had a bit of a day off, so I've just been trying to keep on top of it all.
Good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I on the other hand done some stuff obviously with Charlie, doing stuff for the sites for Halftime Cuppa, but I spent I got some transfer bargains. I went to Lidl. Shameless plug for Lidl. Bought some food.
Brilliant.
So that is my transfer or deadline day dealings. So good stuff there.
I didn't see the announcement video, Danny. Where was the announcement video of your news guys?
I missed a trick there. I missed a trick. Anyway, let's actually move on to the football stuff now, and not the shopping. Let's start with Aubameyang then, because clearly he's one of the, if not the sort of highest profile movement that's occurred today. Ben, as you've just joined us, what do you make of the Aubameyang deal?
I think it's an excellent deal for us, and I think Aubameyang is, out of all the strikers that are currently on the market, I think Aubameyang is one of the best out there. I think the stats speak for themselves. He's consistently been, since he joined Borussia Dortmund, probably the second best striker in the Bundesliga. And of course, in between, there has been seasons when he has outscored Lewandowski as well, him being the first. And I think for a club like Arsenal, losing Sanchez, they needed that big name to kind of step in and fill that void. And I think Aubameyang can do that.
There you go. You've heard it from Ben. Also, just a quick sort of plug. Just lost my words there for a second. Feel free to send in your comments and questions in the chat section. Russ Vernon has done that, and so has Match Day with Max, of course. And Russ has said, breaking, Gary Medine has joined Cardiff City from Bolton Wanderers. We'll just have to double check that one.
Have you seen the fee for that one?
What's the fee?
Potentially 7 million I saw earlier, or something ridiculous like that.
How much?
Wow. Oh
is,
my.
Good money for a team like Bolton.
Yeah, geez, wow. Okay, that's a really interesting one. Thank you, Russ, for that, and thank you, Charlie, for the figures. And Max obviously says, have fun, guys. Sorry I can't come on. Hoping for some busy transfers for Forest, and we'll probably come on to some of those because he did mention them earlier. Anyway, back to Aubameyang. Charlie, what's your thoughts on Aubameyang? Is he the right striker for Arsenal?
I'm going to be honest. He might be the right striker for Arsenal, but I don't see why 60 million was spent in that position.
Why? Why?
It seems silly. It's like Arsenal's biggest problems isn't their striker, is it? I think quite clearly from watching a few games, you watch a couple of games of Arsenal, and you know that isn't their issue. Their issue is defensively. Their issue is that they lack real sort of solidity at the back. When you look at even in goal, Petr Cech, the mistake he made yesterday, it's not defined him as a goalkeeper, but it's just it might be time to find someone a little bit different. And I think 60 million is a really good time to do that.
Do you feel that it could have been maybe a bit of a panic buy?
It was probably an attempt to appease the fans, so I can't see anyone complaining about it. I think when you lose Sanchez, he probably feels the need to replace him with real quality, but I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me.
Okay, let's hear Liam's thoughts on Aubameyang then. Liam, what do you make of his move to Arsenal?
Yeah, I agree with Charlie slightly. I think the fee was a bit too much to spend on one striker, especially when they can see goals, and because they've got Ozone, Mkhitaryan to assist for Lacazette now. I don't really see why they needed that other striker when they had Giroud as well, but it's a strange one, the fee, really. 60 million. I always said 40 at most, probably. Even though Aubameyang is a good quality striker.
So you think they're massively overpaid?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear Joe's view. Joe, what do you think?
I agree with what Charlie and Liam said. I think that it was definitely a panic buy at the end of the window. And I don't know, for me, I think Giroud's a very good player. I think he's very underappreciated at Arsenal. And Chelsea have got, I think, a guaranteed 20 goal a season striker. If he plays every game, I think he's definitely going to be up there for 20 goals, and that's what Arsenal need. Aubameyang, obviously, he's a good player, but it is a risk, and for 60 million, he needs to get at least 10 goals from now at the end of the season, and I don't think he'll do that. But him and Lacazette could end up being a good partnership together if they work well, and especially with Mkhitaryan with the link with Aubameyang from Dortmund, it could go right for them. But I think right now I'd have kept Giroud.
Yeah, just interestingly, you mentioned obviously Lacazette there, Joe. Joe, do you think that those two can play together, or they'll be played separately?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how Arsenal set up, but with modern football in general, you don't go with two strikers. Just what people do. So I can't see either of them being satisfied on the bench behind the other one, and then if you then stick one of them out wide, that's not really their best position. So I can see them playing a couple of games, not often together. And I think that Lacazette might even be on the move in summer, because it clearly hasn't worked for him at Arsenal. And I think that Aubameyang might then become the main man at the Emirates.
Okay, let's go back to Charlie now. Charlie, do you think there's any room for both of them to fit into Arsenal's starting 11?
I think if any other leading manager in the world, I'd say you'd find a way. You'd be problematic and have to move one out wide or play someone slightly out of position. But I think with Wenger, I just don't know if he's capable of it.
Why is that?
He's not. He played free in the back long after it was overdue, and I think that was maybe something that he was hesitant to do. I think his style of football hasn't changed since he joined Arsenal. I can't see his formation changing that much to facilitate the two either, to be honest. I can just see one of them being played out of position.
Okay, and Ben, do you think that that's fair? That maybe one gets played out of position or one doesn't get played at all?
Not really. I mean, you've got like over about 110 million pounds of talent there. I mean, I don't see any reason why. I mean, Arsenal shouldn't be. I don't see any reason why Arsenal should be afraid of going to top. I mean, we say their problems defensively, so why do they not? Especially now they've lost Sanchez, why do they not just go for it? Try and go back to the days of trying to outscore teams. Because if their defense is gonna be terrible, they're gonna concede 3 at Swansea. Then why not just go with Lacazette and Aubameyang up top? And I think, considering the amount of money they spent on both, I don't really feel like it's going to be wise for them to just kind of leave them on the bench, because they are both in their own right quality strikers. I think, yes, while Lacazette hasn't quite settled yet, I think that has a lot to do with kind of like the style of play Arsenal have been adopting, and just the general settling into the Premier League. His record isn't actually too bad either. I mean, I can't say like if you had Drew in the team all season, would he have done any better? Probably not. So yeah, I think certainly an experiment with the two of them up top would certainly be worthwhile.
Yep, we will have to see if Arsene Wenger does experiment with his team. Also, obviously, another signing that Arsenal made during this window was Mkhitaryan. And Joe, what do you make of Mkhitaryan as a player, and do you think he can really sort of progress Arsenal?
I think it showed the fact that he hasn't been at Man U long. I think it shows the fact that maybe he wasn't cut out for the Man U level, because as much as we don't admit, Man U are a level above Arsenal, just in terms of popularity, in terms of history, and in terms of what they're currently doing. But if I was going in that, knowing I was going to sell Sanchez, I think the best deal was to get a player like Mkhitaryan back, because obviously 6 months' time you lose him for free. You may as well get someone, a player back, and you may as well get someone decent. So I think it could be a good fit, and I think the link with him and Aubameyang will be crucial in either of their success. Basically, I think it relies on them to play well together for Arsenal to kick on that next level.
Ben, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree about the whole Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan link thing. I think that's going to be one of the main reasons why they look to bring in the two of those together. I think that can really play a part. I think, Mkhitaryan, definitely the best of a bad situation for Arsenal. I mean, it just wasn't worth it. Arsenal are they're not a poor club. They've just had years of like saving and making money, turning a profit. So there was no point selling your best player for about 20, 30 million. So yeah, they did well to get in Mkhitaryan, I think. Yeah, the forward line, it wasn't exactly the place that needed a player. I think, now, especially now the future of Ozil is secured, it's going to be interesting to try and fit them into the team. Because I think if Mkhitaryan and Ozil were to play together in central midfield, you definitely kind of need a more defensive option in there. So yeah, trying to squeeze in Aubameyang, Lacazette, Ozil and Mkhitaryan's definitely got a few questions for Wenger to answer about that one. But best of a bad situation, I think. Probably more likely to thrive at Arsenal, considering Wenger's style and play than Mourinho. So Mourinho has a history of like attacking players and kind of not getting the best out of them. He's famously, he's given up on Lukaku, De Bruyne, Salah, the likes of those three, all thriving now at big clubs, but they just didn't fit into the Mourinho mould. And I can see Mkhitaryan going a similar way.
Joe, did you want to jump in?
I just barely visualised. I don't really want to talk anymore. I'm going to go find a small place and lie down.
Fair enough. Sorry, I just had Son. I can't say his first name. Hun Min Sun for Tottenham, just almost with a really good chance. And yeah. Basically, Charlie, really good chance. Sort of stings. He stings the hands of David De Gea. It's a lovely ball through. It's either Dele Alli or Harry Kane who lays it through to him. He's sort of through at the edge of sort of the 6-yard box, stings the hands of David De Gea. And to be honest, it's a bit of a poor placement, but
Jesus Christ,
powerful shot. Anyway, it's still 2-0 there with about 20 minutes left to go. Back to Arsenal now. Charlie, Ozil, as I believe Ben's alluded to, Ozil sort of signing this new deal, is it almost as if Arsenal signed a new player by keeping him on?
I wouldn't quite go that far, but I think Ozil's probably been convinced by these deals that have been done in the last week or two. Sanchez bringing in Aubameyang, it looks exciting for his position, and it's a very good bit of business. I think losing him on a free would have been a shame. A player of his quality doesn't come around too often, and I think they've had to pay quite heavily for it, with a report saying he'll get 350 grand a week, which is a lot of money for a player like Ozil. But I think he does do a lot of underrated work for Arsenal, and I think he's good at breaking the lines.
And Liam Jury, are you a fan of Ozil? And do you think he'll prove his worth with this new deal?
Yeah, I think he will. I think it shows that his heart is definitely with Arsenal now. And there was sort of, when Sanchez was there, he was sort of kicking off a fuss as well. I don't know why that was, but now that Sanchez has gone, Ozil sort of like calmed down, and he's now getting on with his football instead of having this sort of like attitude, isn't he?
He sure is. And overall, probably a very favourable day, I would imagine, for Arsenal fans this deadline day so far, anyway. Given what happened yesterday in the Premier League. So far the opening, I would say almost half an hour of the show has been predominantly about Arsenal. And it's funnily enough because Arsenal took the sort of centre stage during our last deadline day stream. So here's a quick snapshot of what we went through in the summer deadline day stream. So take a listen to this. Welcome to the Football Forecast transfer deadline day. It is like the Christmas day of footballing season.
I mean, Arsenal at this point, yeah, it's plausible. They are a mid-table side nowadays.
Hang on, pause for a second then. SA, what do you want to say to that? Mid-table?
SA's a realist. He'll agree with me. Come on. They'll be below Stoke this season. Come on.
I don't understand how you could try and sign him on the day where he's playing for his national team. He spent the last hour and a half on the pitch in France. How were they meant to conduct the medical and agree personal terms while he's on the pitch? Or were they going to bring up Deschamps and say, yeah, Deschamps, can you take him off, please? We want to discuss personal terms. I mean, come on. So that deal was never going to get done. That £92 million bid was just trying to appease the fans. And they was, oh, wait a minute, it's not going to work. So that was brilliant planning right there. Yeah, they should have sorted the Sanchez thing out earlier as well. I mean, I do not think they're going to get the best out of him now. They should have gone in for the Lamar earlier, get the replacement. Then they should have let him leave, because now they've just got an unhappy player in their dressing room. And Sanchez is quite a big character in the Arsenal dressing room, so if he's not happy, that's not going to go very well. We had a pretty shambolic transfer window, and the board need to go, Wenger needs to go, and literally anyone currently involved with Arsenal needs to go.
The club's a
Someone
mess at the
say
moment.
Ben. Someone say Ben. Mid-table-ish.
I think you're absolutely right.
I would say you are not pulling any punches whatsoever.
Oh, no.
Also, hold on.
Yeah, got him. 1
minute of applause for all Arsenal fans, I reckon. I think out of a sign of respect, we should end today's stream with a 1 minute's applause.
Tell us about Mahrez. Where do you think he is, Charlie?
Well, apparently he's in Paris Airport, isn't he? That's the last we've heard of him. The last we've actually seen of him, it was in Paris Airport.
I've got a feeling this time next week, Mahrez is going to be on the side of milk bottles. The other being William Carvalho, €5 million. That's all they wanted more. And David Gold went, no, thank you. Don't want a world-class midfielder. We've got Mark Noble.
It's been a laugh. It's been a lot of banter. I won't attribute that to one person in particular. But it's been a lot of fun, and thank you very much for joining me again this evening. It'd be great to get you guys on TFF Talks throughout the season. Obviously, we'll do a season review at the end of the season as well.
When Arsenal win the league and Josh Keeble will eat his words.
Danny Welbeck finishes top goal scorer.
I'll have audio clips. Them audio clips will be played. And so they have. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Yeah, let's just have a quick reaction to that then. Liam, what's your thoughts listening back to the summer memories?
Get Keeble Wells on the podcast right now.
Keeble Wells will be on his way, and we'll certainly repeat that for him a little bit later on. I'm sure you liked that one, did you, Liam?
Well, I think we all liked it.
Hashtag announce Keeble Wells.
Yes, that's the calling card. That's the calling card. Ben, what did you make of that? Because you obviously took a centre stage in that sort of clip, talking about Sanchez, talking about the club. You was on a roll.
Hey, I've not calmed down. You know, I'm still just as I still stand by everything I said there, and I think it's proven out to be true. Sanchez did turn out to be a bad influence at the dressing room. Arsenal did majorly lose out on a lot of money, and they have suffered by having a subpar Sanchez for the first part of this season. When if they'd have actually got their act together, which is a lot to ask for the Arsenal board, getting their act together, they could have had Thomas Lemar. So completely stand by that. Yeah, good to listen to it again.
And one of my favourite sort of clips from that was the Mahrez on a milk bottle. Bearing in mind what's going on today with Mahrez and just sort of disappearing. Charlie, what did you make of listening back to that?
It's nice that we're like any good franchise, like the Mahrez disappearing. We got a good sequel.
I'm sure Josh will enjoy listening back to that. So yeah, we'll save that for him. I'm sure Liam's messaging him frantically right now. Get on. But yeah,
SA's messaging him going, don't go on.
Don't go on. No more mid-table, please.
Don't do it.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, we'll stay on Arsenal for the time being. We'll look at the other side of it now. Now, we've mentioned Sanchez. Let's talk a little bit more sort of in more detail about him. Joe, what do you make of Sanchez leaving Arsenal and now on the pitch for Manchester United?
I can't believe Arsenal didn't sell him in the summer, to be honest. What were they getting offered? Like 60, 70 million, I think, by Man City. And to reject that with a player with 1 year left was really something. And then for them to have half a season, which has been an okay Sanchez performance, been average, he hasn't really done much, to then sell him to Man U, I think, and he's still in the Premier League, he's not abroad somewhere. I think it's a massive risk by Arsene Wenger. And I think that Sanchez, to be fair, he has played for Arsenal, he hasn't thrown his dummy out, he hasn't done a Diego Costa and refused to play. And Man U've got a good player in that, and it's a proper flashy Mourinho signing, exactly what he'll want. So I think that it was risky from Arsenal, and I think it's good for Man U.
Yeah, you can certainly tell. I don't know if you saw the pre-match sort of interview Jose Mourinho done with BT, but I mean, all of a sudden he smiles, he's energized, he looks a completely different man to the guy that's sort of no comment and no speak and all that. So yeah, completely different. Joe, how much, because you said like he's not thrown his dummy out, but how much do you think his heart has actually sort of gone into playing for Arsenal during his time?
I think, I don't know, see, for me, Sanchez always seems like someone who will run around and he'll do the stuff he's asked to do, but he always seems like someone who is always maybe one bad game or one bad performance away from spitting his dummy out. But as I said, he didn't do what Coutinho did either, where in this, where he's injured conveniently just around the January transfer window. But I think Arsenal should look back on the time with Sanchez and think, yeah, we got a good player from Barcelona and he did very well for them. It just shows where Arsenal are as on a level that they are going to have to sell their best players to Man U again. A bit like Van Persie and all that.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone else agree with that? I'm going to chuck that completely open because your last sort of sentence there about them being on another level, I think that is a really good topic to sort of discuss. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, Man United are in the Champions League and Arsenal are a mid-table team, so yeah, 2 different levels. That one was for you, Keeble Wells.
He'll get plenty of that tonight. Don't worry. Don't worry.
But no, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's the difficult thing for Arsenal is that they haven't won something major for so long that they can't really be considered contenders to the same level. I think at the moment, actually, we're seeing two separate blocks of 3, basically, in the teams we have in England. We have the 2 Manchester clubs and Chelsea in the top 3, battling for the title. And below that, you've got another 3, really. You've got Tottenham, Liverpool, Arsenal. I'd say Tottenham are the leading out of those 3. And so it's very difficult for a Liverpool or an Arsenal to attract and keep big players when you've got, even just domestically, you've got 3 or 4, 5 teams that can actually offer your players either more money or more prestige or more chance of winning trophies. It's definitely difficult for them to keep players like Sanchez and Ozil.
Good point there. I was just trying to think how much do you think money will probably come into play? But then again, Arsenal, I know they're obviously they get the fees, they get the money in, they save the cash, but they don't like to spend it, do they? Really, let's be honest. Okay, so let's get Ben's views. Sanchez to Manchester United, is that a good move for all parties then?
Well, for Arsenal, they're just the architects of their own downfall, as they always have been. I mean, they get such a mess with their contracts. I mean, like, no other club is run so poorly that they'll let their contracts run down for their star players like 6 months left, so the clubs can be held to ransom by their players, as Arsenal have been in this situation. I mean, talking about kind of like the levels of clubs, I mean, even between your City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham, I mean, how often do those 5 clubs do business with each other? Like, very, very rarely, and particularly for top players as well. If Man United came in with 100 million offer for Harry Kane, I mean, I don't even think then that would persuade Tottenham to sell. So those 5 very rarely do business, but Arsenal, they're constantly kind of selling off their players to Premier League rivals. I think because of the way their contract situations run and kind of like the way that they let Premier League teams kind of poach their best players, that's something that's like really holding Arsenal back. And that's just shows no progression. That's been going on for a good 10 years now since they moved into the Emirates. So yeah, that's a bad move for Arsenal.
Yeah, Ben, can I come back on that one quickly?
Yeah.
Just you speak there about teams selling players to rivals and not being competitive afterwards. Well, what about the case study? I mean, Arsenal have bought 2 players from them. Borussia Dortmund have been kind of the prime example of a club that are actually, they're quite comfortable with it. That they've let Götze go to Bayern. I know he's come back. They let Lewandowski go. They let Hummels go. That actually they're quite comfortable with key players ending up at clubs in the same division and European rivals as well. And they actually seem to keep coming back and competing. So would you say actually as a strategy, it's not something that completely should be ruled out? And actually, I would say Arsenal are trying to replicate that somewhat because they've brought in Sven Lintat, I think is his name. I might be getting that wrong. Who deals a lot with their transfers now. Who was at Borussia Dortmund, and actually there's a really good blueprint there for doing it and doing it well.
But I'd say if Arsenal are a club with the fans, and certainly the manager kind of promises they have ambitions of kind of winning the Premier League. And the thing I'd say about Dortmund is, I'd credit them for kind of retaining their position, kind of qualifying for the Champions League in Europe. But the Bundesliga's like a different case study. I mean, the Bundesliga is completely a Bayern Munich dominated league, and over the years, Dortmund under Jurgen Klopp, quite brilliantly came up and were able to challenge them. But then now Bayern, over the years, have slowly picked away at their better players. They took Lewandowski, Hummels, Götze, as you're saying. Dortmund have been slowly kind of receding, and then every year they've been getting more and more behind Bayern Munich. And now it's got to the stage where Dortmund probably aren't the second best team anymore. I mean, Leipzig look for like a second season in a row, they'll finish ahead of them. So Dortmund have been dropping off the pace of Bayern. Bayern have kind of dominated the league, and I think that's why that example doesn't as much apply to Premier League. The Premier League is a much more even league, and if Arsenal want to be competing against the likes of Manchester United and City for to say it's not sustainable for them to go and win league titles if they're kind of financing their rivals and if they're improving their rivals on a consistent basis.
Interesting debate there. I like that, especially as obviously Giroud moved today to a considerable sort of rival in Chelsea. We'll come on to that in just a second. Just very quickly, a couple of the full-time results. Chelsea, who probably could have done with Giroud on the pitch tonight, they found themselves on the receiving end of a 3-0 humiliation, I suppose, at home at Stamford Bridge. Really strange one there. Everton won 2-1. They held out. Theo Walcott scoring twice, and we'll come on to Theo Walcott shortly.
Get him to the World Cup.
Wow, he said it. He said it.
Oh no.
That's a snippet. That's going to be
I'm
played.
joking.
Oh,
Take him.
no, you said it. It's been snipped. It's already put.
It's already. Yeah, it's already in there.
It's already in the review.
Newcastle were held by Burnley 1-1. Yeah, as Joe sort of mentioned earlier. Joe, what do you feel? How do you feel?
Well, we created chances. We missed a penalty, and apparently we had another great chance. We just don't have a striker at finish, so hopefully Slimani's our striker, and that's it really. We're getting chances in games. We're not getting beat that often. We've only been beaten twice in the last 7 games, and that was both as Man City. So it's hard. We're hard to beat. We just need to finish chances to win games.
Okay, and Southampton drew with Brighton 1-1, and same for you, Charlie. What's your thoughts on that result?
I was watching the game. It's disappointing. We were 1-0 up for a long time in the game. Disappointing to throw it away, but to be honest, it looked like Southampton were on top. At this point, any points we can get, we'll take them and just try and get to that 40 as quickly as possible.
We'll come on to. I've just made a note. We're going to talk Ajoa at some point because I like Ajoa, and he's obviously your signing as well. So we'll talk about Ajoa. It seems like we don't go a deadline day stream without talking about Ajoa.
Yeah. Where has he been this season? Is he at Leicester or?
He was at Leicester. And he's just gone to Brighton on loan. He played tonight.
Only on loan. Wow.
That's fine. Yeah. Wait. Let's do it now, Danny. Let's do Ajoa now while we're here.
Go on then.
You finish your bit, and I'll come back to it.
Well, no. We might as well, because that'll break up the Arsenal. Because this has all been Arsenal so far. Because it's all been about Arsenal. There's no getting away from that. So yeah, let's talk about Ajoa then. What's your gut feeling as a fan? You've seen him play there before. He's obviously been a bit of a fan favourite. But what's your thoughts?
I mean, the nostalgic part of me loves it. The nostalgic part of me is jumping for joy at having. We love doing it. We did it with Bobby Zamora. We did it with Glenn Murray. And now we're doing it with Ajoa. We love to bring an iconic striker back. But then part of me goes, well, we've got Murray. We've got Hamed. Is he that much of an upgrade on either of those? And I think it's just nice to have the option. I'm going to be honest. I spent the summer, the deadline day special, depressed at not being able to sign a striker, and we've signed 2 in January. So I can't sit here and be too
depressed.
Too down. No.
Okay, good. We're going to have a happy Charlie tonight then. That's good. So
no guarantees.
Let's because Liam was obviously Liam wanted to get involved there. Liam, Ajoa, do you think that's a good signing for them?
Yeah, because when I first saw Ajoa in the Premier League, and that I think it was when Leicester came up, I really liked the look of him. But he's sort of gone under the radar now that Vardy's now come on the scene and he's now scoring goals and he's now Leicester's main striker. Ajoa's not really had a look in for the past 2 seasons, so I think it's a good move for him.
Okay. And Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Brighton definitely I think need to improve up front. I think they're like quite a lot of teams down there, often I mean I can't claim to be an expert on Brighton. I'm sure Charlie will correct me if I'm wrong, but they seem to be one of the teams down there that often play quite well in games, but maybe come away thinking, we could have got the win there, and the only thing that's holding them back is maybe a bit of striking force.
Yeah,
power.
you've hit the nail exactly on the head. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good. Yeah, and I think Joa, can help with that. Somebody who's been around the club before, a bit of a hero. He'll get a good reception, I'm sure. And I think he has proved that he can score goals at Premier League level. So hopefully that combination will work for him.
And Joe, would you take him? Obviously, what's going on with Newcastle, and you're hopefully going to get Slimani. I don't know if that's officially gone through yet. I'll have to double check.
Some of the Northeast reporters are saying it is, so I'm kind of assuming that's a done deal.
Yeah, I would assume, all being well, it'll go through in the coming hour or so. But would you have taken Ajoa at Newcastle?
Not over Slimani. I think that if you'd offered me Ajoa last night, I'd have took anyone, to be honest. We're that desperate, but I think Slimani. I don't know. I like Slimani a bit better than Ajoa. I think Ajoa's, no offense, he's a typical Brighton signing, typical Chris Hughton signing. It's a bit like, well, great, and that's it. It wouldn't spark. I wouldn't be really excited by it. But then again, we're scratching at the bottom of the barrel, so I'd have took anyone. And on loan, it's only 6 months. His wages probably won't be that much. I probably would have took him, but I'm happy with Slimani.
Okay, cool. Charlie, just quickly then, do you think he's going to be the man that sort of helps steer you away from the relegation zone?
I think him, and I'm hoping that Jurgen Locadia, the other striker we bought in this window, will have a big part to play. And I think we've dealt with the issues we had, that we didn't have a proper goal scorer. Someone a little bit nippier, and I think Locadia is that, and hopefully Ajoa can chip in as well, and we'll all be well. We'll still win the Premier League when it comes to the end of the season review.
Yeah, I can't wait for the end of season review. That'd be good. Cool. Okay, let's get back to, again, Arsenal, I'm afraid. And we did mention him earlier in terms of selling to your rivals. Olivier Giroud moving to Chelsea today. Liam, what did you make of that move? Do you think that made sense for Giroud, or do you think that that's a bad move?
I think it's a good move for Giroud because, in my opinion, he's no worse than Morata. I think they're the same level of striker, despite the price tag being 45 million difference. I think Giroud is very much on that same level as Morata, and because it's World Cup year, you've sort of got to make that move, ain't you, if he wants to be there in the summer, playing for France or whatever.
Yeah, do you think there was an element of sort of the player trying to push that through to obviously play for France? Because France obviously have a very, very strong national team, and his place will be up for grabs. So do you think that maybe Giroud forced that through?
I'm not really too sure, but I imagine that he played a part in saying that he wanted to leave when Aubameyang was rumoured to be coming in, I imagine. Because Giroud was basically part of that deal, wasn't he? That if Aubameyang comes in, he goes to Chelsea. That's why he goes to Dortmund. It all comes full circle, doesn't it? So,
okay.
Yeah.
And Joe, on to you now. We've seen Chelsea on the wrong end of a ridiculous scoreline. They would never have guessed that scoreline tonight. Do you think that Giroud is the guy to fix things?
Morata, I thought Morata was a good signing. He started off well, and then all of a sudden, the last 2 months, my word, he's been not very good at all. And then when there's reports of them going in for Crouch and whoever, I think Giroud's obviously one of the best top, tallish strikers you're going to get. And I like Giroud. I would have loved him in Newcastle if we'd got him on loan. Obviously that was never going to happen, but 15 million for a striker who's scored goals in the Premier League is an absolute steal. So I think he is a good signing for Chelsea. I don't know whether he's the striker they need, but he'll do a job at least till the summer, and then they can get a massive name in then.
Okay. And Ben, as your thoughts on Giroud moving to Chelsea, do you think he'll get much game time? Because, I mean, as we've mentioned with Arsenal, and I can't remember who brought it up, I think it might have been Charlie or Joe, talked about is you don't tend to see two strikers, two forwards. And Chelsea, my impression and understanding of them is they usually play with one forward in Morata or what was Costa last year. Do you think that Giroud will get that game time?
I think probably part of the reason why Chelsea have signed him, I think, is his attitude. I think, he was a very good servant for Arsenal. One of those players who always give his all. And even though a lot of his time up for Arsenal was spent, especially this season, like coming off the bench, Giroud doesn't strike me as the kind of player who'd ever complain about that, get in the mood about it. He'd always come on, and every time he came off that bench, try and prove himself, and actually was quite a good goal scorer off the bench. And I think that's what Chelsea saw in him as a player. They thought, somebody who's, maybe if we don't start him every game, because I think Conte is still going to go with Morata as first choice, particularly maybe if Giroud comes off and proves himself, that could change. I think initially Morata probably stays number one choice, and then so if Giroud is happy to kind of come off the bench, give his all, be the player who's not going to complain about it, I think that's what you need in any squad, really. Because I mean, there's nothing worse than kind of unhappy players knocking on the manager's door, kind of saying, I want out this club, I want to be starting games. I think Giroud's not that kind of player, so I think that's part of his appeal as a player. And I think I've always been impressed by him as well. I think I'm not sure at Chelsea's level if he can operate as the main striker, but I don't think that's what they brought him for.
Yeah, I heard on Sky Sports, I think they were interviewing a few fans, or they were asking a few fans' opinions, and they seem to have this impression that he was this impact sub. Do you think that he has that, Ben?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think if you're going to choose a backup striker who's not going to kind of throw his toys out the pram about it, I think Giroud's kind of the best man you can get. Because I mean, Chelsea could go out and sign Aubameyang, but then you've got Morata and Aubameyang, and one of them has to be on the bench. It's like one of them is never ever going to stand for it. So I think for the job Giroud is going to do at Chelsea, I think there's no real better person you could choose.
Okay, interesting stuff. And let's get Charlie's views before we go to all the full times from tonight's games. Charlie, Giroud at Chelsea, is this going to be a good matchup?
Yeah, I think he's capable of playing that technical football that Chelsea play, linking up with Hazard, Willian, Pedro. He's quite capable of doing that. He's done that at Arsenal. And I think, like it's been said, he's got the right attitude to play sort of a backup role to a Morata, but still perform when he comes into the team.
Good stuff. Okay, well, let's have a quick roundup of all the full times from this evening. So let's start all the way from the top in the Premier League. Here we go. So Chelsea were on the wrong end of a 3-0 defeat to Bournemouth at Stamford Bridge, of all places. Everton were 2-1 winners over Leicester, Theo Walcott scoring twice. Newcastle were pegged back, and 1-1 was the final score there, although Kennedy was the assister, I suppose, really badly phrased there. But he was the provider for Lascelles' goal for the tune. And Southampton, the Saints, drew 1-1 with Brighton. Man City were 3-1 or 3-0 victors, over West Brom Albion, and Stoke and Watford ended up 0-0. And of course, the golden game in halftime cuppers predictor, and arguably the highest profile game in the Premier League this evening, was Tottenham against Manchester United, and it ended up being a 2-0 win for Tottenham, with Eriksen scoring within, I believe, just over 10 seconds, and a Phil Jones own goal to cap it off. So, yeah, chaps, what was I'm going to open this to the floor. No, you know what? Let's go to Liam first. What was the standout result from this evening's Premier League fixtures?
I would say the Bournemouth win over Chelsea,
Cool. Why is that?
because you wouldn't really expect them to do that, especially at Stamford Bridge, would you?
Yeah,
With the form
very,
they've been in recently.
very true. Joe, do you agree?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And Charlie, any different?
Stoke nil, Watford nil.
Well, why?
No. I actually think Tottenham's win over Manchester United is the most significant for the league table. Yeah, Bournemouth win takes everyone by surprise and it will grab all the headlines.
Okay. And Ben?
Yeah, in the interest of being different, I'll say the Everton 2-1 win against Leicester. I mean, Everton were in a bit of bad form. They were in danger of being dragged into relegation scrap. I think they're only 4 points clear at the start of the day, and they've managed to beat Leicester, who were ahead of them in the league. So I think that's kind of brought them a bit of breathing room for a few weeks now. So that's a good win for them tonight.
Yeah, just on that. So Everton are now just below Leicester, 3 points behind Leicester, with a ridiculously worse off goal difference of -12 to Leicester's +3. In general, the bottom three now looks like West Brom on 20 points, Swansea on 23, Southampton on 23, and then Huddersfield 24, Stoke 24, Brighton 24, Newcastle 24, and Palace 26, and then upwards is West Ham and Watford on 27. So it's kind of tight down there, isn't it, guys?
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Far too tight. Not good.
Yeah,
Newcastle might go down. What shock that'll be.
That is not going to happen, but that's fine.
You never know.
Well, it's certainly a lot tighter down the bottom than what it is at the top. That's for certain. What was you going to say, Joe?
Okay.
I sounded a lot more confident saying that than I actually was. My God, it's going to be. To be fair, it's going to be a good end of the season on the bottom of the table, as you said, rather than the top. So, and
oh
as
god,
Swansea showed yesterday, one win takes you. You know, we could have gone 11th today if we'd won. And
yeah.
there's a load of teams where you can go up or down with one good result, one bad result. So every result matters.
Yeah, let's you know what? Let's talk about one of Swansea's I believe signings. I think it's now done. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you at Swansea?
Yeah, it's done.
It's done. Fantastic. What do you guys make of that? Let's start off with Joe. Joe, what do you make of Ayew joining his brother Ayew at Swansea?
Well, he was very good when he first came to English football. Obviously, when he first signed for Swansea, and then that big money move was a 30 million, I think, to West Ham, something like that. And obviously, you know, he got an injury in his first game and hasn't really recaptured any sort of the form. But if he feels settled in Swansea, obviously his brother's there, then I can see him getting a few goals for them. It's just about settling in, and unfortunately, Wilfred Boney showed that if you go back, you don't really have the same effect. So it'll be a big next few weeks. I think if he gets a couple of goals in the next few weeks, I think that could really be the signing that keeps Swansea up.
And just before we move on to Charlie, we have just under 1 hour left of this deadline day. For the window. Yeah, sorry, my voice there just cracked just a little bit.
Do you mean 2 hours?
No, 1 hour. 1 hour for English club. And Scottish clubs is midnight.
Technically, the deadline's actually 1 p.m. if you apply for a deal sheet.
Yeah, of course. We'll still be running. We'll probably still be running till 11:30 or maybe even midnight anyway. So we'll wait and see until things die down. So don't go anywhere. We're not planning to disappear too soon anyway. Okay, yeah. So Charlie, your thoughts on Ayew going back to Swansea? Do you think that's a good move for him?
What on earth is going on? What are they doing? Is that the best they could do? Like £20 million. Andre Ayew can be a all right player, but for that money, you could do so much better with that sort of money. If you get someone like that, you might as well go into Europe, and I'm sure nowadays you can find someone for that sort of money who's better than that for Swansea. I know it's the element of familiarity in that he can slot straight in and he's Premier League proven. But there's got to be players like Andre that are better than Andre Ayew out there.
And I mean, what would you have done with that money? Where would you have looked?
Well, there's got to be positive attacking players in Europe that are available and would be able to have the same sort of impact. You could have gone and got a younger player from Europe that's able to go in, compete, have the ability to turn a game. I mean, we spent less on Izquierdo. I think he's arguably will be a bit. He hasn't shown it yet, but I think he's shown the signs of being a better player. And I think actually being a little bit braver and going and looking in the European markets, you can get more value for your money. And I just don't get it. It just screams to me that Swansea's transfer team don't entirely have a lot of creativity about them.
Okay, so Charlie's demanding some more creativity from the Chelsea team. Ben, what do you make of their supposed lack of creativity?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Actually, I completely take that point. I think these new like Swansea American owners, I think it's fair to say they're not really football people. It's not really much imagination about them. I don't really think they have a great understanding of the game. I mean, their first managerial appointment came around. They went with Bob Bradley, somebody that they knew from like the only famous American soccer coach, as I'm sure they'd like to call him. They went for him. He didn't work out, and he was never going to really. I think their attitude to signing has been, "Oh, we're in trouble. Let's get the old band back together." That worked before. So they brought in Boney. That's not really had the desired effect. They brought back Andre Ayew because he was good for them back in the day. So yeah, I think they've just kind of went, instead of looking for new players in Europe, as just been mentioned there, they seem to have opened up the history books. Right, who used to be good for us? They've just gone and brought him. Yes, I completely agree. I'm sure they'll be after Joe Allen next. Probably going to go back in for Ashley Williams in about a year's time. That's the only thing they seem to be really doing at the moment.
Just a bit of transfer news, bit of an update, and then we'll go on to Liam. Jack Colback has supposedly joined Nottingham Forest on a season-long loan from Newcastle, or a loan till the end of the season, should we say. Joe, let's get your immediate reaction on that.
We've absolutely robbed them. They'll only be playing wages, but he's one of the highest earners in Newcastle. He's on something like 70 grand a year. Or 70 grand a week, sorry. So he was one of the highest earners, and I don't think he's been in the match day squad all season. So that is an absolute fantastic deal for Newcastle.
And another deal that's I've literally just seen this one. I've not seen this one. I've missed this one. But apparently Aston Villa have Lewis Grabban on loan for the remainder of the season. Very interesting one there. Charlie, what any thoughts on that one?
Lewis Grabban is the sort of striker that will probably move every transfer window for the next 25 years. So can we just sort of formulate one message?
Should I put that on my soundboard?
got goals level.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm not at that level. I forget that we don't play at that level anymore.
Okay, don't rub it in. Let's SA's joined in as well, so we'll get SA's views shortly. And I want to just get Liam's views on Ayew before we move on. Liam, Ayew back to Swansea. What are you thinking?
I honestly don't know what Swansea are doing. Like, Ayew hasn't got the best track record, has he? But I think they're sort of hoping that him and his brother can sort of, they've got that partnership between them to try and keep them up if they can. And can I just say that Johnny Russell from Derby's heading to the MLS, so that'll be interesting.
That is an interesting move. Do you know if that's a loan or a permanent deal at all?
An undisclosed deal ahead of the start of the 2018 season. So
interesting. What club did you say?
Sporting Kansas City.
Sporting Kansas. Yes. Yeah. Good. Interesting there. Okay, well, I think it's time to introduce SA Adboye, who's been on the bench for a few minutes.
Hey guys.
Hey, SA, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
How have you been this transfer deadline day?
Busy. That's
Busy. Do you want to talk us through what you've been up to?
So basically what I've been doing is plugging in pieces, doing forums and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've been a very busy man today. I think you said you'd done a piece on TFF earlier as well. Am I right?
Yes, I did.
And what was that piece on?
Transfer news. Well, I can't remember who I did it on now.
Okay, no worries. Well, it's going to be a surprise. So anyone who's listening now who wants a read of Esse's magnificent work, go check it out on the Football Forecast. It'll be a surprise. No one seems to know what it's going to be about, but it's going to be about something. Yeah.
We need Keeper Wells on.
We do need Keeper Wells. Keeper Wells should be on very soon because SA, I've got a treat for you and Josh. And yeah, you'll see. We won't spoil the surprise right now.
That sounds actionable.
So let's move on to.
Can I throw a deal out there and see what people's reactions are?
Go on, then.
One that was done slightly earlier that came completely out of the blue, like entirely out of the blue, was a young Everton player, Ademola Lookman, going on loan to Red Bull Leipzig for the rest of the season. What are people's thoughts on that, on a young English player going to somewhere like that for the rest of the year?
I personally think that's really good because we don't see that as much as what we should probably do. I think young English players should get experience abroad, get used to different football cultures, and embrace it because we seem to get stuck in our own little mini world here, I think.
Yeah, just jumping in, because I wrote an article about this where it was about homegrown rule, where I think that if you scrap the homegrown rule, have however many players from England, if you let players like Lookman go abroad, play abroad, he's now playing against German defences week in, week out. Obviously, he's not going to be in the England squad, but imagine if that was Theo Walcott, if that was Oxlade-Chamberlain, they're going to be playing against foreign teams, against foreign styles of football, and that'll only benefit the national team. So I think that's a good move for Lookman, personally.
Anyone else want to jump in with some views there?
I agree. I echo everything that was just said. I think it's a great move for Crown.
Go on, Liam.
I respect him for it.
You respect him? Why do you respect him?
Because there's quite a few English players who are sort of scared to go out in their comfort zone, and they're scared to go abroad and then try this different culture and this different lifestyle for 6 months or a year. And if Lookman does it and then someone else does it in, like, say, 6 months' time, like Calvert-Lewin or someone, then you might see more doing it and it might benefit the national team in the future.
Do you think he'll come back a better player?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Have we heard from everyone on this one? I can't quite remember. SA, you got any thoughts on this one?
Not really, no.
Not really. Okay, that's fine. We'll move on. Anyway, thanks for chucking that one out there, Charlie. Let's move on to someone who scored twice tonight. And as we've already mentioned, most of this deadline day has been about Arsenal, and it will probably still be about Arsenal come later on. But one person who obviously left in this window and scored twice tonight was Theo Walcott. Now, Charlie, how do you make his move and how he's getting on at Everton right now?
God, Theo Walcott. Jesus, I feel like I've been saying the same thing about him for the last 10 years. He's the sort of guy that, in theory, should be a really good player. But he's quick, he's all right on the ball, he kind of knows when to make a run, but none of it ever seems to click. And if Sam Allardyce can get it to click, and I think he's made it quite clear that he's going to play in a slightly more a wider position than he was playing at Arsenal, as more of an out-and-out winger. It'll be interesting to see if he settles for that, because it seemed for years that he kept almost demanding that he be played as a striker, and he kept couple of games he'd be good there, a couple of games he'd be awful, a couple of games he'd be good, and it would drag on until we finally found out that Phil Walcott, it just isn't a good enough as a striker, and should have really knuckled down in the position he started off in. But it's good. It's good to see an English player doing well, and I think that's the main thing.
Let's hear Esse's thoughts. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, what was your gut reaction when you heard the news that he was leaving?
Do you know what? I was kind of happy he left, not because I think he's a bad player, but because I think it's what's best for him to move on, because he wasn't getting any better at Arsenal. Let's be honest. And speaking of Walcott, I have a theory that had he not been injured against Tottenham back in 2014, he would have been twice the player he is.
So do you think that's what would you put it down to? Bad luck?
Yeah, in terms of injuries he that he's been getting.
Okay. Before I move on to someone else, anyone have a differing view on that, or? Okay, it seems like everyone's unanimous then. Okay, let's hear Liam's views on Theo Walcott. Good move for Everton. Liam? Okay, we've lost Liam. Liam's playing the silent card with us. Let's go.
Mike's on mute. Maybe he doesn't know. Hopefully he's not just speaking to nobody.
He might be back in that airport, so we'll let him off. Let's go over to Ben then. Ben, what do you make of Theo Walcott joining Everton?
Yeah, I think it was a fair enough move. I think Walcott has probably been at Arsenal a bit too long now. I think his career was really going nowhere, and it was a pretty sad situation when by the start of the season, he's 26, 27 years old now, still really not sure where his best position is. Never really had a consistent run in what his best position is. And I think now he was being pushed out of the Arsenal first team to the point of, he was pretty much just their Europa League player. There's a point in your career where you just have to say, enough's enough now. He needs a fresh start. There was nothing more he could do at Arsenal. He was only going to go backwards even more. So I think he's probably left it a bit too long, but, he did need to get out of that club. And, hopefully for Everton, he can kind of embrace the fact he's a wide man. I think that always has been his best position. I'm not sure he was ever cut out to be a central striker. So hopefully, if he gets a run of games there, he can kind of really finally get his career started. Seems weird to say.
Yeah, and
Can I just say something here?
Yeah, go on.
It's not about Walcott or anything, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Bolton are close to getting John Flanagan in on loan. Very interesting.
Bolton.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Wait, has he just been sentenced? Is he about to be sentenced?
I think he's about to. Yeah. Interesting one there. Thank you, Liam. Anyway, back onto Walcott. Joe, do you think that Sam Allardyce is going to get the best out of Theo Walcott?
No, because Sam Allardyce is the most overrated manager ever. I actually hate Sam Allardyce. I don't really want to talk about him, if that's okay.
Keyboard here.
Josh has just joined the call. We'll cue him in just a second. Liam, I just want to get your thoughts before we go over to Josh on Theo Walcott. Liam,
he's a BTEC Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Josh then. Josh, it's great to have you here. If you're there.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Sorry, I'm late. I just got back from the gym.
No worries at all. No worries at all. So what have you been up to this transfer deadline day, Josh?
Sixth form. Come home, had a little nap. Woke up, see that Gillingham released our last ever title winning player in Stuart Nelson. That brought a tear to my eye. Then see that we signed a striker on a free. Then went to the gym, and then I've come back, and now I'm here.
Busy day. I have a little surprise for you and SA, which I will share with you in just a moment. I just want to get your thoughts because you've just come in at a really nice time. Theo Walcott, he obviously joined Everton a little bit earlier in the window. What's your thoughts on him moving there, and is Sam Allardyce going to get the best out of him?
I think it's a poor signing from Everton. 20 million for a player of his calibre. Arsenal have done tremendously well to get that money for him. Personally, wouldn't go above 8 million for a player of his quality. Can he get the best out of him? No one's ever seen the best of Walcott, so it's a hard question to answer because no one knows what his best is. So I'll say no.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's play the surprise now. Most of this transfer window has been dominated by Arsenal this deadline day anyway. So I think it's time we revisit what happened last deadline day. It looks like we're having some technical issues right now. Just give us one moment and we are ready to go. How about this? Hopefully it now plays. Here we go, Josh. Welcome to the Football Forecast transfer deadline day. It is like the Christmas day of footballing season.
I mean, Arsenal at this point, yeah, it's plausible. They are a mid-table side nowadays.
Hang on, pause for a second then. SA, what do you want to say to that? Mid-table?
SA's a realist. He'll agree with me. Come on. They'll be below Stoke this season. Come on.
I don't understand how you could try and sign him on the day where he's playing for his national team. He spent the last hour and a half on the pitch in France. How were they meant to conduct a medical and agree personal terms while he's on the pitch? Or were they going to ring up Deschamps and say, yeah, Deschamps, can you take him off, please? You want to discuss personal terms? I mean, come on. So that deal was never going to get done. That £92 million bid was just trying to appease the fans. And they was, oh, wait a minute, it's not going to work. So that was brilliant planning right there. They should have sorted the Sanchez thing out earlier as well. I think I do not think they're going to get the best out of him now. They should have gone in for the Lamar earlier, get the replacement. Then they should have let him leave because now they've just got an unhappy player in their dressing room. And Sanchez is quite a big character in that dressing room. So if he's not happy, that's not going to go very well. We had a pretty shambolic transfer window, and the board need to go. Wenger needs to go, and literally anyone currently involved with Arsenal needs to go.
The club's a
Someone
mess at
say
the
Ben.
moment.
Someone say Ben. Mid-table-ish.
I think you're absolutely right.
I would say you are not pulling any punches whatsoever.
Oh, no.
Also, hold on.
Yeah, got him.
1 minute of applause for all Arsenal fans, I reckon. I think out of a sign of respect, we should end today's stream with a 1 minute's applause.
Tell us about Mahrez. Where do you think he is, Charlie?
Well, apparently he's in Paris airport, isn't he? That's the last we've heard of him. The last we've actually seen of him, it was in Paris airport.
I've got a feeling this time next week, Mahrez is going to be on the side of milk bottles. The other being William Carvalho, €5 million. That's all they wanted more. And David Gold went, no, thank you. Don't want a world-class midfielder. We've got Mark Noble.
It's been a laugh. It's been a lot of banter. I won't attribute that to one person in particular. But no, it's been a lot of fun, and thank you very much for joining me again this evening. It'd be great to get you guys on TFF Talks throughout the season. Obviously, we'll do a season review at the end of the season as well.
When Arsenal win the league and Josh Keeble eats his words.
Danny Welbeck finishes top goal scorer.
Them audio clips will be played. And so they just have. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. Josh, what did you make of that?
Spot on analysis as always, Danny.
No surprises there. SA? That's if he's there. Yeah, go on in.
I just say something? Going back to Joel's point about Sam Allardyce, I think Sam Allardyce. I think he's right to call him overrated because he's nothing more than a mid-table manager. Let's be honest.
That's true.
Teams managed by Sam Allardyce, they're too good to go down, but they're not good enough to compete in the top seven.
And 6 months down the line, Mars has disappeared again. Who would have thought it?
Yeah, I was actually going to use that as my sort of introduction for the next bit. As I said a little bit earlier on, one of my favourite little clips from that is Mahrez on milk bottles. I mean, what, Josh? Where does Mahrez end up this transfer?
That's breaking news from Newcastle, by the way.
I was going to say I've seen that. Can I just jump in, right? Slimani's pass is medical, that's good. The other breaking news is Alexander Mitrovic in talks over a loan move to Fulham.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow. I swear he was leaving the country.
8 million from us.
Well, 8 million's not going to get it. We weren't going to give you 8 million. We bought him for 12.
No, yeah. I assumed it'd be more, but I'm not annoyed with it, to be honest. I don't know why I'm that. I'm not annoyed. I'm quite happy we got a show.
I'd be gutted to sign Mitrovic. He is honestly the most frustrating striker I've ever seen. Yeah.
The West Ham need a striker.
No, you don't know. Mitrovic might be on his way then. We'll keep an eye. Let's get back onto Mahrez then. Josh, what's your thoughts? Where's he going to end up?
It'd be great if he'd done a Peter and Wingy and just drove to Man City and like parked up in their car park and just waited for something to happen. I don't know. I've been out. Has a fee been agreed yet, or what's been happening?
I believe they turned down.
Out of it, isn't it? Too much.
I think they rejected the final supposed final offer from Man City.
65 plus player, I think Man City offered.
Well, in that case, get Leicester City for the remainder of the season. In all fairness, this season, obviously in the summer, as we know, he put in Chad West and it didn't fall through for him in the end, but he's acted quite professional, to be fair, throughout the season so far. Whether this will now change something, because he's done it again and he's upset with the way Leicester have behaved, could it unsettle the squad at Leicester? And because they've been doing very well under Claude Puel, and in fairness, catching up to Arsenal. So could unsettle the Leicester squad a bit, to be fair.
There we go. Let's bring in Ben then. Ben, where do you think Mahrez goes from here?
I think he still stays at Leicester. I think, it's a little bit too late in the day to get any deal over the line. Yeah, I do take the point about what's he going to do to Mahrez now, because, I mean, he has, in credit to him, he was disappointed not to leave in the summer, but he has kind of, kept up his form. You actually decided to, rather than, sit around on the bench and wait for a move, he decided to actually, carry on playing, prove himself, play for the move rather than kind of just wait for it to happen. But, this is second time now Leicester have kind of let him down in a sense. Second time they forced him to stay, probably against his will. And I think, I think they might start to show now. And I think, actually, I'm quite surprised from Leicester's point of view. I mean, if they've been offered £65 million plus like an unnamed player from the Manchester City squad, I think that's a lot you're going to get. I mean, that's already more than when the offers they were getting from him when they won the title. But I'm not really sure they're going to ever get any more of him. I think if they keep turning down these bids, they're might end up regretting it, especially if Mahrez now does go off the boil. If in the summer, they're not going to be getting the same kind of offers.
And Charlie, can you see maybe why there's quotes of Sky have got quotes of his supposed close friends saying that Mahrez is very upset that he's once again been told that he cannot leave, despite being told that he would be able to leave. Can you understand why?
I'm going to be honest. I was a bit annoyed to hear when you hear after he went AWOL this afternoon. I was surprised to hear that there was rumours saying that the Leicester players were annoyed. I feel hasn't he served that club well enough now? I mean, you look actually, Danny Drinkwater pushed for what, a couple of hours and got his move to Chelsea. Kante got his move to Chelsea as well. And I can see if you're someone like, if you're Mahrez and you've been carrying that team through games for the last 4 years, you can understand why now he'd go, yeah, this is probably, I've done everything I can. Can I move before I'm no longer wanted by big teams?
And Esse, would you have taken Mahrez at Arsenal?
That's a difficult one. The question I'd asked is where fit him in. That's the issue I have. I mean, he's a great player, no doubt, but I'm not sure where I'd fit him in at Arsenal.
Okay, that's a fair point. We did have a slight discussion earlier as to whether Wenger's going to have trouble on his hands trying to fit in Aubameyang and Lacazette. Obviously, you wasn't around for that essay. Do you think he's going to have issues there trying to sort of build teams with both of those in, or is it just going to be a one or the other sort of case with them two?
Honestly, I'd like to see both start, but Arsene Wenger will probably still persist in starting either one or the other. So,
okay, moving on, Liam. I don't know if you've seen it, but supposedly Swansea are close to a loan deal for Andy King. Talk to us about that. Do you think that that's a good move for Andy King to go play for Swansea? Bearing in mind, I think he's had, Sky was saying earlier, almost 10 years or something like that he's spent at Leicester. So.
Yeah, he's been out of favour this season, hasn't he? He's been out of favour. He's been sort of overtaken by Matty James in the pecking order. I think you expect a player of Andy King's quality who was there when they won the title. He's been with them through thick and thin to then just be like surplus requirements, really. And what you want, I think going to Swansea for 6 months could be a good career move for him.
Yeah, and Josh, do you think that that's a fair move too, for him to go out to Swansea on loan?
Yeah, but I think he'll get minutes at Swansea, and as Liam rightly points out, he's been out of favour this season, and minutes is what he needs. So yeah, I can't see anything wrong with that move. He'll get minutes. Swansea get a half decent player and improve their team. So works for all parties, I think.
Excellent. Let's move on to Slimani now. So Leicester have had a busy deadline day, offloading players really. So let's go to Joe then, because Slimani is pretty much there, if not already confirmed. I think you said yeah.
Just on Sky now.
Oh, just now. Oh, okay. Wow. Let's hear from you then, Slimani. You've got to be pleased, surely.
Definitely. I mean, Joselu tonight missed a penalty and missed another good chance. So let's just hope Slimani can put the chances away, because, as I said before, we're creating the chances. We just need a goal scorer. And as long as Slimani can score 7-8 goals to the end of the season, fantastic signing by my estimations. And yeah, that's it. As long as he keeps it up, I'll be happy.
Cool. And just on Newcastle as a whole this window, obviously you sort of had it maybe overshadowed by what's going on behind the scenes with Mike Ashley potentially selling the club and all this sort of thing going on. Do you think that Rafa's done well despite all that?
Definitely. Rafa's managed to get, 3 players in, which it doesn't sound a lot, but believe us, when Mike Ashley doesn't want to buy anyone, it's a hell of an effort to get a couple in. And when you see little clubs, like Brighton, paying 20 odd million or something for a team, and you've got Newcastle, who are a far bigger club, not even breaking a record which has stood since 2006, and we're having to scramble around on the last, on deadline day to sign a Leicester reject. It's good that Rafa's managed to get deals done, and it's not a brilliant window, but we've signed 3 of the sort of 4 areas we would have wanted. Maybe a number 10, that was the only other position I think we would have liked to fill, but we've got 3 in, so there's no real complaints.
Okay. And Charlie, I mean, obviously Joe's just mentioned there Newcastle being the bigger club. What's your sort of response to that?
Probably correct, to be honest.
Yeah, at least you're honest.
Let's be honest. Less than 10 years ago, we were playing in a running track in League One, so I'm not going to argue that one. Yeah, it's Newcastle is a confusing one because I feel like with minimal investment, Mike Ashley could actually make a profit. He can make a profit on a decent investment in this window. If he'd gone to Rafa Benitez and said, "Okay, give me 2 or 3 key targets that you need, we'll go out, get it done. Not necessarily early, but we'll get it done, and you can keep us up." Because Rafa's obviously good enough to keep Newcastle up from an external point of view. He's obviously a good enough manager to keep them in the Premier League. Beyond that, well, that remains to be seen how far he's backed. But it's just a difficult one. I can't see why you wouldn't back someone who was managing Real Madrid before they were managing you.
And won the Champions League as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, slightly unlawful.
He's gambled on Mike Ashley's gambling on the new TV deal which is out next week. He's gambling on the fact we'll be in the Premier League next year, so he can get another 20-30 million in the summer and make more money from it instead of settling up, not taking a loss because he's still making 200 million profit from when he bought it, and just get rid of it. So, anyway,
yeah,
I'm not going to talk about it more. I don't want to get involved because I'll end up swearing on YouTube.
Okay. Let's move on to one of the other deadline day signings. Let's talk about Lucas Moura, who's joined Tottenham. Josh, what do you make of Lucas Moura joining the Spurs then?
In a way, it is a proper Tottenham signing because does he improve their starting 11? No. But he had strength and depth, and he's a lot better than Moussa Sissoko, if we're being honest. So I think it's an okay signing. I do think people have overreacted to it a lot, though, because I don't think he improves their starting 11 at all. I don't think he even gets in their starting 11. So, although maybe.
Would you not say he's got potential to turn into something really special if used right and given time?
Pochettino has a habit of turning average players into very, very good players. So there is that. It's just, I think it's nothing more than an okay signing. But he's an improvement on Sissoko, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, he's clearly had good pedigree coming from PSG. So he's not exactly come out from the sticks. He's come from a big club in France. So he should be using that experience, surely, you would think.
Yeah, he's used to playing with big name, world class players, and Harry Kane is one of those now. So.
Yeah, fair enough. I get what you're saying.
I mean, I hope he doesn't adapt because obviously he's a Tottenham player. But I don't know. There's something about that deal that just doesn't impress me.
Right.
So I don't know what it is about it. It's just something doesn't impress me about it.
Okay. Well, let's get SA's view. Obviously, SA, Arsenal fan. And like Josh being a West Ham fan, you've probably got that little bit of rivalry with Spurs. Just a little bit of rivalry. Lucas Moura, do you think he's a good signing for them?
I haven't really seen much of Moura, but given the praise he's been getting, I'm pretty sure it would be a good signing for them.
Okay, fair point. SA, if you get the chance, it might be worth just popping out the call and just popping back in. I think your mic was going a little bit fuzzy there. I don't know if it's just me. It might just be mine, to be honest. But yeah. Okay, cool. And you know what? Because I've not heard from Ben either for ages. Ben, Lucas Moura, before we move on, is he going to add to Tottenham?
It's a strange one with Tottenham because they're just they're a bit off the top four. there's something they're missing in their squad, which means they've missed out on the title and they're not currently in the top 4. But when I look at their squad, I can never really put my finger on it, because like you go through like their team individually. You've got Harry Kane, hard to improve upon. You've got Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Larry. Their fullbacks are performing well. They've got Christian Eriksen. They've got Wanyama, who's a very good player. You've got Moussa Dembele. So it's kind of difficult to kind of come back to that and kind of think, how can this Tottenham first team be improved? Yet there is something that needs to be added. Yeah, no, I do share Josh's opinion of I can't see Lucas Moura coming in and completely transforming this team. Maybe he kind of takes Moussa Sissoko's place as kind of like the first rotation, which can only be a good thing. And Moussa Sissoko, I mean, he's not at Tottenham's level. I mean, really, he's absolutely stealing a living bit playing at that club. He should be nowhere near it. So yeah, Moura maybe more as a substitute player, but yeah, it's always a strange one with Tottenham trying to know how they go about improving their squad.
My
My
point with the Lucas thing is like he wouldn't get in any of the other top 4 teams. Chelsea, would he get in there? No. City, would he get in there? No. Liverpool, would he get in there? No. United, would he get in there? No chance.
I mean, United were linked to him heavily at the beginning of the window.
But would he
That's
start?
United.
Would he start though?
No.
Probably not for me. It's just Tottenham I don't know what it is about their team is fantastic paper. They're just that little bit off the top 4. And the thing is, you look at it, if they had an Alexis Sanchez type of player, they'd be in and around that top 4. But I don't know. I can see them missing out on it this year.
Can I say something about West Ham quickly?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Jordan Hugill, however you say it, is expected to pass his medical, according to Sky.
No, kill me now.
What is that? What is that move? That doesn't make sense to me.
Right,
I need someone to explain to me.
We moved to this fishbowl, right, to move to the next bloody level, to compete with the big boys, as David Gold put it. Right, well, thank God we moved there, because we definitely couldn't have signed a championship striker at the bloody bowling.
It's true. Very true.
We'll certainly come on to that in due course. I want to just briefly talk about the we've just got just over 20 minutes to go, or just gone 20 minutes to go. One of the most expensive transfers, and I'd be very surprised if there's a more expensive transfer going through. Virgil van Dijk joining Liverpool. I was going to say Liverpool, but Liam, sorry. Liam, what do you make of Van Dijk joining Liverpool? Do you think that that's a really good move for Liverpool, or do you think that they've really overpaid?
They've really overpaid. Like, I've seen Sunday League defenders defend better than Van Dijk before. That's not sarcasm, that's the truth. Like, Harry Kane, he's not even known for his dribbling, yet he can go past Van Dijk within seconds and score. Like, what?
I don't know if that you've just picked the best striker in the league as the example of where he's defended poorly.
Yeah, but have you ever seen Harry Kane go past players and score? He's more of a goal poacher.
Yeah, quite a few times.
Well,
he's known as being a bit more of a complete forward than your regular Joe.
I give up. Like, just carry on without me.
Well, just in general, anyway, I was going to say, if Van Dijk is 75 mil, then how much is he's arguably not better, but yeah, I mean, like a Sergio Ramos in his prime. You had a David Luiz. I mean, David Luiz now, how much is he probably worth? So
nowhere near the same level as Van Dijk. He's nowhere near as good.
I understand and agree. But what I'm saying is, if he's 75 mil, how much is David Luiz in comparison?
Thing is, Danny, with these players now, right? A club can name any price, and they know eventually someone will pay it because there's that money out there. Thanks to this TV money, and obviously other factors as well. No player's worth the fee that they're signed for these days. I mean, as you know, Danny, West Ham signed Ned Valencia for £15 million.
What bargain!
15 million Fredos. That's the be all and end all. Players aren't worth what they're signed for, and whether it's 75 million or 13 million they're signed for, then they're nowhere worth it to be. So I just think we should play off Van Dijk for a bit. To be honest,
I think it's a bit unfair.
Good defender, and let's let him settle down at Liverpool because he's had a rocky start, and with these fees, people will pick up on any mistake, and it gets highlighted forever and ever, and then all of a sudden they're a bad player. When Van Dijk's been, I was about to say Leicester, Southampton's best player for years and years, so he's deserved for a while. I hope it goes well for him personally.
Yeah, just on that actually, I think I was speaking to Will, Charlie, on the train on Saturday, and he was saying that how much of a difference he thinks. I think it was him anyway. That having a confident, strong goalkeeper makes to a defensive unit, and as much as Van Dijk is this clear added quality to Liverpool's back line, their problem is more so the goalkeeper, surely not.
Yeah.
So I mean, personally, as a neutral, I feel that they should have strengthened with a goalkeeper, because, or if not this window, because it doesn't look like it now. Summer they have to sign a goalkeeper, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think with goalkeepers, you have to be. It's a little bit more of a sensitive position, isn't it? With buying an outfield player. Because I think if they'd have gone out and spent 50 million on a Jack Butland, for example, let's say, in the summer in January. He gets thrown straight into the deep end, straight into the team. And with goalkeepers, if he makes a mistake in his first 5 games, let's say, that's it. He's labelled with that. Can't handle the pressure, isn't good enough. Need to find someone else. Whereas I think if you go out and you buy someone like Virgil van Dijk, who's actually been linked with the club for a while, had some experience. I mean, I know limited experience in the Champions League with Celtic, doesn't really count. But I think that's it. Going back actually to a point that was made about the transfer fee, I think it's quite unfair to say this about a player and say that, because this player was 75 million, he's got to play better than anyone else. I think if you're a player, you've just got to push that out of your mind, surely, and be professional and say, look, I was brought to this club for a reason. That reason wasn't because they're going to pay 75 million for me. It was because Virgil van Dijk was arguably, well, before he wanted to leave for Liverpool, I'd say he was one of the best centre-backs in the league. And so actually he was brought in for his merits and not on the basis that we're going to pay loads of money and it's all a big marketing scheme. It's not every transfer has to be the same as a Real Madrid. Yeah,
do you think the worry would be that with this figure, I don't want to attribute it to him because it could be anyone. We can attribute it to if Sanchez was bought for a large sum. So I'm not just him, but just in general, if a club's paying a huge amount for you, is it more a worry that that would get to you and you'd be this cocky sort of, I'm worth this, I must be good, or do you feel it'd be the opposite and there'd be more pressure on you to sort of to perform and you almost sort of cave in? What do you think, Charlie?
I think a lot of it comes actually from the fans and the press. Because if you look at some of these players that move, you look at the Alexis Sanchez deal.
Yeah,
I'd say it's one of the first times with mainstream media they've actually gone, this is how much wages he's on. This is what the signing on fee will be. This is what the agent fee will be. And there's a need from the media for big players to come in, to move to clubs, and then there'd be pressure on them. And then either they perform or they don't perform. And then it's more stories, isn't it? And then, if you look, really, for me, if I was taken to a club, if I was bought by a big club, so I mean, we're in the stage now where lower Premier League teams are paying 15 to 20 million for a player. If you're bought by a club for an exorbitant fee, something 30, 40 million, 50 million now isn't uncommon. You've got to say, look, well, there's a lot of faith that must go with that, and you'd hope a lot of due diligence. Obviously, I know there's some deals that aren't quite like that, and actually. You'd hope that the faith comes with that from a manager.
Okay.
A little
And
bit rambly.
no. You made some good points there. I want to move back to, because we don't have too much longer. We have just 12 minutes till the deadline it approaches and hits us. I want to quickly talk about another sort of signing. One that a lot of people have argued was probably really good value for money. Was Ross Barkley, who joined Chelsea from Everton for a fee round about 15 million, they believe. Ben, what do you think about that? Was that a good move for Ross, firstly? And could Everton have held out for more money?
Personally, I think it's a terrible move for him. I think it's a shocking move. I think that he reached a stage of his career now where, Ross Barkley, I think he's 24 years old now. And the problem I see with him is we're still talking about him as the way we would be talking about an 18, 19-year-old player. I think his career's kind of reached a stage where he's not really progressing. He's still kind of, making these rookie mistakes. He's not influencing game as much as he should be doing. And now that was happening at Everton, but now he's gone to Chelsea where the scrutiny is going to be even more on. Whenever you sign for a big club, you sign for a club like Chelsea, you have to come in and you've got to hit the ground running, otherwise the media is going to be all over you. And I think the manager as well, the manager will want him to make an instant impact. So, and plus his game time is most likely going to be limited as well. So you add in those kind of factors where, there's going to be so much more pressure on him now. He's going to have probably a lot more limited opportunities than he would have done at Everton. How is his game really going to kind of go on to the next level? It probably should already be at by now. So I think for his sake, I'm a bit concerned actually about how he's going to continue to develop and try and get back into that England side.
Josh, do you think that he? Do you agree with Ben actually? Because Ben's points, I think, were again very good, very on point. Do you think that maybe this move isn't as good as what it sort of brainwashes people into believing it is?
Well, it's a good move for the bank balance. However, obviously, as Ben says, footballing reasons. I personally think a better move for him would have been a Stoke, a West Ham, a Brighton. Come and be our main man, rather than a team that's going to play him in the Carabao Cup. £15 million is not a lot of money in this market, and for an English midfielder as well. It's astounding you can get a player of Ross Barkley's calibre, but as Ben rightly points out, he hasn't been the player he was when he was 20 or 19. He was affecting games more then than what he is now, and games pass him by. And as he says, he's at the stage of a career now where he should be affecting games more, and he's not. And I'll out of him.
Can I respond?
Go for it.
I just want to pick up on a couple of the points that I mentioned there. And I said, it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, please. It seemed like one of the big issues was that he hasn't developed quite in the way that everyone hoped he would, which I think is probably a little bit more of an accepted fact than most.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you say that actually moving to Chelsea and the opportunity to play with some world-class players and be coached by some of the top coaches in the country, be managed by Antonio Conte, so a man who was pretty instrumental in some really good young players getting the chances and developing into really good players. Wouldn't you say that's something that you should absolutely snap up? And obviously you say about the bank balance moving up as well. It's been fairly well documented since that Everton offered him the same money he was going to be getting at Chelsea. They made assurances that he would be paid the same. And yet he still decided, no, actually, he needs that move. He needs the opportunity to go somewhere else. He might not be top dog at Chelsea, but maybe he needs that as motivation to really drive him on and make him into that sort of player who grabs a game.
If he so harden him up. Yeah. Harden him up, yeah?
Well,
It's good points, and it's like thing is with Ross Barkley now, where obviously at the start of his Chelsea career, which we're in now, where chances are going to be so limited. Once he gets a chance, as I'm sure you'd agree, he's got to go and take it now.
Mm.
Whereas at Everton, not as if he could afford to throw games away, but he can take it a bit more relaxed. And there is that added motivation now where he's going to need to take games by the scruff of the neck and do something with it, to be playing week in, week out. And as you say, working with better coaches. But my thing is, did Conte want him? Did he actually want him, or was it a signing from above him? Or because when he arrived, Conte didn't really seem that happy. Obviously, I might be reading into it too much, and I'm sure I probably am, and I'm sure Conte had something to do with the signing. But it's just a little bit of me that thinks maybe he didn't want him there, and maybe it was. I'm not saying it was Abramovich, but someone, like the director within the club or something, that signed him.
Yeah, well, he's a young English player who's £15 million, and I think one of the main things that most of foreign managers come into the league complain about is the price of English players, and often they justify all their foreign purchase by the fact, well, it's much better value abroad. And I think, since clubs like Chelsea do struggle with kind of like the English quota of players, and I'm sure when they saw the chance to sign Ross Barkley, get 15 million, I'm sure that played part in his mind. I mean, it's often like, if you look at the transfer in that way, somebody who's had Ross Barkley's career, but I'd say maybe was of French nationality or of like Spanish nationality, would they have brought him in? Probably not. But I think the fact he's English and what seems like a good price of £50 million, so that could well have played a part in him. So,
yeah, I have to say, I think I agree with you there. I think it's kind of surprising because more often than not, because of the homegrown thing and the sort of the emphasis on having English players or homegrown players, the price sort of skyrockets. So for a player of his ability to be available for 15 million is kind of, quite impressive. I know he's not reached the heights, but to be fair, for 15 million, I think that's probably one of the shrewdest bits of business that a top four side has done during this window. SA, what do you think? Would you have taken him at Arsenal, Ross Barkley? If you're there, SA.
Should do.
He probably would. He'll find a way. Him and Mahrez, he'll find a way.
As Josh said, he'd be a great signing for a mid-table team, so it's one of those.
Okay, well, let's move on anyway. We're going to talk about the final player of the three. We're going to come back to, obviously, Aubameyang because he's arguably the biggest story of the day. But we're just going to complete that sort of trio and talk about Batshuayi for the time being. Josh, Let's hear your views on Michy moving to Dortmund on loan. He's obviously struggled. That sort of goes without saying. He's struggled at Chelsea. So do you think that this is a really good chance for him to get some first-team football under his belt?
Has he struggled at Chelsea, though? I think when given the opportunity, I think he's been, all right, not impressive, but he gets the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, at the end of the day, as you say, Danny, I think he needs minutes. And he wasn't getting that at Chelsea. So I'm interested in what role Olivier Giroud has to play. But I think it's a good move for Batshuayi. Go and get some minutes under your belt. But yet again, when he comes back in the summer, he's third choice striker behind Alvaro Morata and Olivier Giroud. If they're still at the club. So
yeah, and obviously you wasn't here.
Then move permanently in the summer, not to Dortmund, but maybe someone else.
Yeah, and obviously you wasn't here for the Giroud part. Giroud to Chelsea. Do you think that that's a tidy bit of business by Chelsea there?
A player of Giroud's calibre for £18 million. Oh, my life. The only word that springs to mind is bargain. Giroud is one of the best strikers in the league. I don't care what anyone says. He's absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, it's why I think Arsenal have had a poor window. Oh, yes, they've signed Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's a fantastic player. But yet again, they've gone out and strengthened their rivals. Alexis Sanchez has moved to Man United, improved their side. Giroud's gone to Chelsea, improved their side. So yet again, they're improving their rivals and feeding scraps from Man United. Mkhitaryan, although I rate the player, surplus to requirements at a big side. Arsenal go, yeah, all right, we'll have him. I don't think Arsenal have had a good window personally.
And do you think, because I think Ben or Charlie sort of mentioned it earlier, they're strengthening in the wrong places. They were strengthening in offensively rather than defensively.
Yeah.
Do you share that view?
Yeah, without a doubt. For me, Lon Koscielny is very overrated. I don't think they have a quality centre half at the club. Mustafi's been very suspect since he arrived in the Premier League. I mean, Johnny Evans, is he?
Yeah, I was about to say, actually, he was one that was very much linked, and I believe they did try and meet their valuation, but they couldn't with West Brom, unless something emerges in the next 2 minutes or so.
I mean, what does that say about Arsenal? Arsenal can't meet the valuation of West Brom. I mean, come on. I think that says it all about the people who do the transfer business at Arsenal.
And also, you find like when a big club comes in for a player from a team like West Brom, if Arsenal did bid, which obviously it looks like they have, if you're Johnny Evans and you really believe Arsenal are a big club, you try and force through that move. Doesn't really seem to me that Evans is that bothered about Arsenal.
No. So what does that say?
It's more about Arsenal than them not meeting the valuation of Johnny Evans.
Yeah. Very, very true. So, okay then, I'm going to open this up. So, Josh, you seem to think that they've not had a good window at all. Arsenal have not had a good window.
They've had one, to be honest.
Okay. Ben, how would you sum their window up?
Yeah, the good I listened to that has kind of made me kind of reevaluate my opinion a little bit about it. I don't know. I think to a certain extent, you kind of just have to focus on your own affairs. I mean, I think, would I rather operate going forward with Giroud in my squad or Aubameyang? I'd much rather have Aubameyang. And I think for Sanchez, you've cleared away, a player who could be good, but there's no point thinking about Sanchez in the way that this Sanchez Arsenal losing isn't a big loss because his heart wasn't in it, his mind really wasn't there. So I think to replace him with Mkhitaryan, who's already got a good link with Aubameyang, I think he's good. I think, as I say, I think if Arsenal are going to do this, they need to change the way they play going forwards. I think if they're going to sign Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang and not focus on defence, their game plan needs to now be, right, let's play them both up front, let's play Mkhitaryan and Ozil as well, and let's go out to outscore teams. That needs to be their new way of thinking if this plan's going to work, because they can't just carry on playing the same way and kind of rotate between Lacazette and Aubameyang playing up front and kind of still try and play quite pragmatically, because then still you're going to be in the same situation. Your defence is still bad, so you need to kind of, this needs to be kind of a turning point for the way Arsenal play. But the way Arsene Wenger's really stuck in his ways, I can't really see it happening.
Okay, well, the deadline has now passed. Obviously, deals will still go through in the coming sort of hours. If extensions are being made, then that's when they'll filter through. Obviously, the Scottish window still opens for an extra hour, but I mean, unless there's any sort of key moves there, our focus will be obviously on the English leagues and looking at the Premier League and Championship. But actually, I want to cross over to Josh, and then we'll go back to Ben again, because we've not really had much of a chance to talk about your clubs. So, Josh, talk to us about the Gills and how you think your transfer window has gone.
It's been okay. Nothing too extraordinary. We had a player called Sean Clare on loan from Sheffield Wednesday until January, and he's a fantastic talent. And we failed to extend his loan. It looked like today we might get him back, and that hasn't gone through in the end. Which is disappointing because obviously, Danny, I was speaking to you Monday, or no, Sunday rather.
Yeah.
About playoffs, and I think if we'd have had Sean Clare in our squads, I'd have been very, very, very confident of achieving playoffs. But now it's get back to the graph of your squad. And other than that, we've signed Frank Musa, who's a free agent. He's an experienced player at this level. I'm relatively happy with that. We signed Reece Murphy, who I believe his last club was Forest Green. So I'm not won over by his footballing CV, but obviously I'll judge him as a Gillingham player. We've extended Conor Ogilvy's loan, who I slated at the start of the season, but he's got better as the season's gone on, so I'm happy with that. And we signed Callum Riley from Bury on loan with a view to a permanent deal, and he's been superb so far and sort of the missing player we didn't even know we needed. So I'd say relatively happy, but we needed a bit more, I think.
A bit more from Josh then. Okay, let's hear Ben. What could the Posh have done? Or how did they do? Sorry.
Well, when you're a Peterborough fan, January is horrendous because January is spent sitting there, chewing your fingernails off, praying that your best players don't leave. And fortunately, for probably the third consecutive window, that's not actually happened. We've managed to. It was massive for the season not to lose either Jack Marriott, I think he's on 24 goals for the season, and Marcus Maddison, one of the leading assist makers in England. I think keeping hold of those two players I'm celebrating that as much as making a new signing. I think we've had it before where we've lost players in January, like Connor Washington. It's completely derailed the season. So to hold on to those two has been massive. And I think we've only made two other signings. We've signed Joe Ward, who was a young player. We signed him from Woking, 22-year-old winger. He was absolutely excellent against us in the FA Cup.
He used to play for us.
Yeah, former Brighton kid. Yeah, he's gone down, kind of working his way back up again. Yeah. And I was at Woking away in the FA Cup, and in all honesty, they should have beaten us. We were so fortunate to get a replay in that game, and Joe Ward was the main reason that Woking played completely better than us on the day. So, he could be a good signing for us in the future as well. But the one I'm most excited about was George Cooper from Crewe, 400k. I think he's a really kind of creative attacking midfielder. I think that's what our midfield is missing. So I think he can slot into a team and play really well. But yeah, as I say, kind of keeping Marriott and Maddison today were the main pluses.
Yeah, I did hear a few things about Maddison, probably about earlier on in the week or something like that. I did hear a couple of days ago that a couple of clubs were interested, and obviously Peterborough fans wanted to keep hold of him. So yeah, you must be really pleased.
I am, yeah, because earlier today, Derby sold Chris Martin, I believe it was, to Reading. So Derby have been rumoured to be interested in Marriott and Maddison as well. So yeah, there was a bit of a nervy moment when I found out that news came through, but I don't think Derby have made any moves to replace him, fortunately.
Okay.
Cameron Jerome.
Yes, they've already bought him. Yeah. To be fair, Derby have they prior to Chris Martin going, they were overloaded with strikers and forwards. So I think Nugent being there, Darren Bent, and yeah, they had quite a few.
Matej Vidra.
Yeah, exactly. Is Essay there at all?
Hold on, let me go and check.
I don't think so. He's still in the call. He must be listening in. Just headphones in. Must be chilled out right now. Okay, Charlie, give us the lowdown on how Brighton's window's gone then.
We've just dealt with the areas we need, to be honest. I think the striker was somewhere pretty much anyone could tell you was the issue for us. It was the area where we weren't creative. Well, we were creating chances, but we just weren't putting them away. And I think bringing in Lacadia has been more of a wild card option, and then having Ajara as more of the Glenn Murray, Tom Ahmed mould, but of a new upgrade I think it's good. I mean, we've been linked with Nick Powell for all of today, so that's one that is threatening to not happen. But
would you
good?
Would you want that one to happen?
I remember the game we got promoted last year against Wigan. He was arguably the best thing about Wigan's play by some distance, and so I think it'd be nice, but I'm not in the slightest fuss if it doesn't happen. Overall, good window.
I've just seen on my timeline that Barnet have signed attacking midfielder Jordan Nicholson from the Posh. So, Ben, any idea what Barnet are in for with him?
Yeah, well, we signed him a couple of years ago while Graham Wesley was manager. Yeah, Graham Wesley, that was a terrible mistake. But yeah, Graham Wesley is now Barnet manager, so unsurprisingly, he's kind of, as he's done for a couple of players actually, a lot of our rejects, funnily enough, was signed by Graham Wesley. Luckily, he's now taken into Barnet, and I think Jordan Nicholson is the latest in that list.
The latest one. Okay. I'd really like you guys to rate your own team's window sort of out of 10. I'll give you a few seconds just to come up with your scores. But yeah, I'd really like you guys to rate it out of 10. Is SA back now?
Yes.
Yes, excellent. So SA, just briefly talk to us about Arsenal and how you think your window's gone. And then we'll get everyone's ratings out of 10 on their team's window.
I think selling Sanchez, but buying Mkhitaryan, I think that was a good move. As Sanchez was starting to be a bit of a bad egg mentally. Physically, it was great, but the fact that we didn't sell him in the summer like we should have done, it created a team amongst the squad. So I'm happy we sold him to United. Also, selling Giroud to Chelsea. Look, I'd say that was a good move for him because he wants to play at the World Cup, and that shows how desperate he is. Also, selling Theo Walcott, that was also good. That was also a good move, but we did buy Aubameyang. So, conclusion, I say we've had a good window. But of that is that Aubameyang is cup tied, so that's the only downside. Other than that, we've had a good win. We've had a good window.
Okay, and I don't want to forget Josh, West Ham. Please share us with your West Ham views. Bearing in mind, I think I just saw. What did I just see? Something to do with Hugo, or
if he signed, it's a 1 out of 10.
And obviously this is what I saw. Sorry, the Andre Ayew, because we never got your views on that because you came just after that. So yeah, talk to us about West Ham.
It's mixed views on Ayew because, listen, don't get me wrong, Ayew is a terrible, terrible, terrible football player. But you take him away, we've got one fit striker, Danny. And that's a man we've been trying to sell all January for one reason or another in Javier Hernandez, who is a very talented footballer. So we've been left with one fit striker and possibly a geezer that scored 15 goals at Preston North End in the whole of his career for the rest of the season.
Because obviously, given the struggles that West Ham have encountered this season, is that enough to keep them up?
No. I don't see where the goal's coming from. You've got Arnautovic out injured currently. You've got Lanzini out injured currently. Where's the creativity in the midfield? Serious question, where is it? There's no creativity in that midfield. You take those two players out of the team, what is there? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Goals, you're relying on Hernandez to pull something out of the bag. He can't do it all on his own. I feel sorry for the fella, to be honest. He's been treated horribly by the club. I've got no idea why they were trying to send him this window, but they were. And I feel the board have done a disservice to Moyes. As I said to you the other day, he's done well since he's come in. And deserves to be backed this January. And he hasn't been. We've gone and sold Diafra Sakho, who was a good player, but he's had his up and down moments with the club. And I've seen recently he's he's agreed to do an interview with a West Ham YouTube fan channel, and he's going to spill the beans on David Gold and David Sullivan, because David Gold reported that he was injured the other night, and then obviously he signed for Rennes, and then a day later scored in his debut. And apparently Sacco said that he was forced. Or no, sorry, David Gold pretty much made up that he was injured so he could mask it up, and so it looked like Sacco's fault rather than Gold's. So I'm sure that'll come out eventually.
Would you have taken, bearing in mind what you've just explained to me, would you have taken Enner Valencia?
Danny, I'll take anyone at this point. I'll take absolutely anyone at this point. We're feeding off scraps. We are really scraps.
One person you could take, maybe not as a striker, but he's left Watford. He's been released from his contract by mutual consent, is Ben Watson. So there's an interesting one for you. It's just come up. So Ben Watson has left Watford.
I'm fine.
Let's say, yeah. So your discussion about creativity in midfield will be solved by Ben Watson.
Ben Watson, there's your answer.
Who didn't know?
Let's have a double pivot of Martin Noble and Ben Watson.
Jesus Christ.
Could you get any more Brexit?
No, and that's the perfect part.
We'll have Scott Parker as coach.
Bring him back.
No,
Yeah,
bring him back. As coach.
I love Scott Parker. He's a fantastic human being. Even if he did play for Spurs after West Ham, but still. Anyway, yeah, in conclusion, West Ham are doomed. I actually do go down after this window. I really do. I don't care whether we're a 10th or 11th in the league. This league is so tight this season.
Okay, let's get everyone's ratings then. So, Josh, I'm gonna start with you for West Ham out of 10.
1.
1. Excellent. Okay, I kind of expected a very low score. I weren't expecting 1. Wow.
I thought it was
It's Josh Keeper Wells. Come on.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a cutthroat business, Danny Cook.
It's either a 1 or a 10. There is no in between.
There's no in between. There's no fairness with this.
Okay, Gillingham.
5.
5.
5.
Man, you're harsh. 5.
We're still a Tom Eaves injury away from a lack of goals up front. So, 5.
Just to come in as well, Debuchy has joined St Etienne from Arsenal on a free transfer. For anyone who may have been interested in what Debuchy is up to.
Oh.
That's your Matthew Debuchy update, everyone.
There you go, Debuchy watch. And let's go over to Charlie now. Charlie, out of 10. So we've got Gillingham on 5, West Ham on 1. I'm sure Josh would probably even give minus points if he could. Charlie?
Me and the summer would have said 10 because we've actually dealt with the one issue we need to deal with. But me now, I'd say an 8.
Okay, 8 for you.
Will remain to be seen how the new times do.
Ben?
I'll go 7.5. I'm happy with the business we have done. The only thing I would say is we were trying to look for a target man earlier in the window. Kiefer Moore didn't get that deal done. I think he went to, don't know. Barnsley, that's it. Yeah. He's a kind of play. I do think we need a kind of a target man because Jack Marriott is quite a small player. Maybe sometimes use him a little bit different in games. And similar to what Josh was saying about being an Eves injury away, we're a Jack Marriott injury away. Perhaps play Junior Morais up front, and believe me, that is not what anybody wants to see.
Just one here for Josh, a bit of an update. Jordan, it is Hugill, yeah?
Yeah, Hugill.
I'm saying him right. Apparently still in advanced talks. So we'll see if that one gets over the line.
These calls to go to keep you up, Josh. Can we come back to you for another comment?
I'm sick of this.
And Bennett Gafobi. There was talks of him rejoining Wolves. I think it's still
67 strikers anyway.
Still to be sorted on loan. And let's go to Essay now. Essay, let's hear your number out of 10 on how Arsenal did. If Jose. Yeah, go on. How much?
He's left it on mute again.
That was
Oh,
a
I
10.
thought that
That
was
was a 10. That was a 10. from what I heard.
Well, I mean, Josh, who's had the worst window?
I've just muted it again by mistake.
Yeah, I told you.
Go on in, SA.
I know. I'd give it a high 5 out of 10.
High five.
Wait, do you mean as in like it's a high and a 5.9? Was it?
Yes,
I'm guessing that.
somewhere around there.
Okay, that is almost all from us. We'll just keep an eye. I want to see how much longer this Hugel deal takes, because I think we're going to be in for an interesting one here.
Right.
Josh, run away. What is wrong with West Ham?
Well, you know what's wrong with West Ham, Danny. I don't even need to answer the question. The bloody idiots that own the club. Don't even start me off, because you know I'll say something I'll regret.
Go on. This is the perfect forum for that.
No, because I will swear. Don't even bother. I hate them. Hate is a strong word. I hate these people.
Do you think they're running your club into the ground?
Yes, they're running the club into the ground. Absolutely. It seems like 1 step forward, 5 steps back, constantly. It's absolutely woeful. During the season, they come out and said, I think it was David Sullivan that made the comment. Imagine my shock as he's blabbing his mouth in the press. He came out and said his sons begged him not to sign Snodgrass and Jose Fonte. All right, I know Snodgrass out on loan, but you still own the player. And Jose Fonte, up until he got his injury, was the best player by a mile this season for West Ham. And they're both still employed by the club, and you're out there slagging them off, saying your sons were begging you not to sign them. Could you get any more unprofessional? Really, I'm asking a serious question. Name me any more unprofessional owners in the league.
Mike Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, we could do with Joe right now. I'm sure Joe would love to argue that one.
I mean, Mike Ashley is.
But he's a businessman, though. That's the difference.
When you said Golden Sullivan,
Pardon?
I'm not defending them, by the way, but don't mistake that for defending them.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Damon made the point about Mike Ashley being a businessman.
Yeah.
And so because he's a businessman, obviously, some of it makes sense. Like some very little of it makes sense.
I think the fact that he's,
you say that
he's
Golden
wrong in
Sullivan
that sense.
David Golden, not even a businessman.
But I think the difference is Mike Ashley's holding out, as Joe sort of said. He's holding out for that extra bit of money before selling out.
I mean, what happened to that? Oh, I want the club gone by Christmas. So what are you still doing on the 31st of January?
Don't you think that Golden Sullivan might move on soon?
They submitted an offer. I think it was like, how much was it in the end? 400 million?
I think it was 300 with an extra 100 if they stayed up or something.
And you're turning that down? Really? 400 million? Because I do think Newcastle might stay up. I mean, there's every chance they go down.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Swansea, in fairness.
Yeah, they'll turn it around, don't they?
January. I mean, it's so hard to call who's going to go down, but 400 million for Newcastle Football Club. That's enough for you to definitely live the rest of your life on and your family after that. And you're turning that down. Idiot.
Yeah, I can understand that. And just to play devil's advocate, really, that extra 20 mil, though, I know to someone who's got the rest, that's probably like, 2 pence on the floor. By the time you pick it up, you've earned it back. But it's still at the end of the day 20 mil, or so. Like that's still money.
On the table, Danny Cook.
Sorry?
There's also still 400 million on the table.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like,
there's every chance actually as well with Mike Ashley that it's Amanda Stavel, isn't it? Is the person fronting the deal?
Yeah.
There's every chance, and they've come to him with a deal, and actually, it's not all sunshine and roses. But actually, they didn't. No, maybe they didn't seem like people that. I know he's not run the club perfectly, but they're a Premier League football club still, and they were. I know they were slightly above that when he got there. But
or maybe was this all just a show? So Mike Ashley can go, well, I've tried selling the club. I'm clearly the only one that wants it. Put up with it.
Maybe.
I mean, the fact that if someone else was interested, I think that doesn't really. That wouldn't sell it as much. If no one was interested, then I'd be like, fair enough. Or if the offer was like a complete lowball, but by the sounds of it, it's a suitable offer. It just sounds like he's holding out for this new television deal, which makes a huge, well, not a huge difference, but certainly makes a significant difference.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at Mike Ashley, really. I mean, we've floated away a little bit here from Golden Sullivan. And actually, I'm going to go back to them.
Yeah, go for it.
It's going to sound like I'm defending them, but I'm not. Since they've been in charge, I mean, they've done all right with the club. I know, obviously, some of the running, the actual the decisions they've made have been great. But, I mean, look at West Ham when they took over and look at West Ham now. Is it that bad a situation? Oh, Christ.
West Ham are where they are now because of Sam Allardyce in the Championship. West Ham aren't where they are now because of David Gold and David Sullivan. I totally get your point.
Do you see from an external point of view, you're in a massive stadium that you really didn't pay for. Let's be honest.
Yep.
You've got a fairly decent squad. You've got a trial and error. You've got a manager who should keep you in the Premier League. Let's be honest. I think you'll stay up.
Yes.
You've got all the makings of a club that just needs to go to that next level. And I think I know stability isn't really as much of a commonplace thing now in the Premier League as it was 10 years ago, where it was free go up, the same free go back down, almost. And actually, as much as they do, some of the decisions I don't agree with in the slightest, some of the things they do are a bit weird. They have done some pretty... people that have been at the club while they're there, so it might be more of just a coincidence. But actually, it has worked out them owning the club.
And actually, as well, I've just seen Reece Oxford's join Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yeah,
I'm quite impressed. Actually, I think I've done a decent job there. Josh, Reece Oxford, obviously a guy with huge potential, a guy that's usually touted, and I know we did talk about him on Sunday even. Are you quite surprised to see him go out on loan?
No, I told you the other day, didn't I? He was heading out the door. Good. I don't care about him.
You don't care about him?
I'm done with him.
Reece Oxford?
His attitude is appalling. He doesn't want to be here. If he doesn't want to be here, go. I don't care.
What gives you that impression that he doesn't want to be here?
He's come out and said he doesn't want to be here. He's handed in a transfer request. He asked to go back to Germany.
But surely that's not... I'd commend him for doing that.
Have warranted a place in the side. As I said to Danny the other day, he's living off this Arsenal game. He had one good game against Arsenal. Fair enough. He was best player on the park by a mile. But since then, what's he done?
How much opportunities has he there? I don't know the facts and figures. I feel like he was... And then he was put in...
Arsenal game, I think he played a part in about the next 8 games. And then after that was sort of cast aside. He's gone out on loan since then to
Reading, wasn't he, last year?
They started him for the first 5 games. Failed to make an impact, so they dropped him. And then I don't think he broke in for the rest of the season. And then he went to Mönchengladbach from the summer until December. And played...
But West Ham recalled him, didn't they? So I'm not wrong.
Pardon?
West Ham recalled him. You not
yeah, we recalled him, yeah. I don't know why, but...
Did you not feel messed about then? Because I know I might feel messed about. If you made the big decision to go to Germany,
But he's come back and said, I want to go back to Germany.
But do you see what I'm saying?
I know, I see what you're saying. But
he's made that
the
commitment.
it was only till January anyway. So we've recalled him a month early, saying we want you to play a part in the rest of the season. And he said, well, I don't really want to be. I want to go back to Germany, to a club he's played 3 times for, bearing in mind.
I'm still young though. How old is he?
I think he's 19 now. He's still got bundles and bundles of material. But first and foremost, he's got to sort his attitude out. And like I said to Danny the other day, we've got James Collins, who isn't playing, who is an absolutely brilliant centre-half.
James Collins?
James Collins is
super. Yeah, to be fair, my dad, who's a West Ham fan, he certainly has rated James Collins very highly.
I don't care what anyone says.
My dad's also a West Ham fan, and he can't wait for the day James Collins leaves the club.
He's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. Sorry, I've said it. He is superb.
I thought, to be fair, from people I've heard that have been at the club and like people that have played other players and things like that, they can't speak highly enough of him.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess there's that influence that he has off the pitch as much as on it.
Oh, exactly. And yeah, he's been a great servant to the club. And listen, he fully warrants a new 2-year deal, but the Dildo brothers are messing him about yet again. So I'm sure he'll leave in the summer, and that'll be a sad day when he leaves.
Just a deal that's gone through now. It looks like Afobe has now joined Wolves from Bournemouth. I think it's a loan deal. I think it is a loan deal.
Who does that leave them without a front? Bournemouth.
Well, they've got Callum Wilson. They've still got Defoe. They've got Josh King.
True. That Mousset as well.
Yeah, I think in terms of numbers, they should be all right. Bournemouth should be okay.
Hit off in the Premier League, did he? He never really hit it off in the Premier League, did he, Afobe?
No, I mean...
he had that bit at the beginning, didn't he? But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, he deserved the move at the time. Definitely deserved the move at the time.
He hasn't kicked on, though.
Yeah, I think this is a good move for him to go back to...
Yeah.
Well, I would say his roots, but go back to Wolves and just kickstart it again. I know we talk about, like... I mean, we mentioned it earlier with Swansea with the IUs. But Boney's one where a prime example of going back to your club doesn't always result in success. So yeah, I think he'd be fine. Wolves are flying anyway, so he'll be playing Premier League football soon. So no concerns about that. And Nottingham Forest have announced the signing of Lee Tomlin on loan from Cardiff City, with Jamie Ward moving in the opposite direction. So Nottingham Forest have had a busy day as well. So I'm sure Max is very pleased if he's still up.
It's past his bedtime.
Yeah. Although, that being said, I've just seen as well, Zach Clough has joined Bolton on loan until the end of the season. I like Zach Clough. I like Zach Clough.
I remember when Zach Clough first broke out at Bolton. He was the next big thing.
To be honest, I've not really seen enough of him at Forest, so I can understand that.
Didn't he get a massive injury, though?
Was it a cruise ship? Was it
it's massive injury, and it's really hard to recover from, and it's setting back a little bit. And as you say, returning to your old clubs sometimes can work out, sometimes cannot. And he's at an age where he's got time in his hands, so it's not the end of the world whether it doesn't work out. But
yeah,
like
Bolton are in pressure.
Yeah, Bolton are dead and buried, mate. So go and play your football, go and enjoy it. It won't be hard to stand out in that squad, I'd imagine. So just go and play your football there and return to Nottingham Forest next season and kick on.
Wow, I mean, Forest, just scrolling through, they've had a very busy day. You've got Stephen Henderson obviously leaving Forest to Portsmouth on loan till the end of the season. And then they've signed Joe Ledley from Huddersfield for an undisclosed fee.
Not Joe Ledley.
Lolly, sorry.
He's got a funny
The
name.
words. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. And then Matt Mills obviously left the club by mutual consent, and Tyler Walker.
Son of Des.
No, he's not dead.
No, son of Des.
Sorry.
His dad's
Des.
called Des.
He's dead. I thought you said he.
No. No, Daddy. No.
I thought you
Nothing I
said
said
dead.
there was that bad. No.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So you're right. Apologies.
He's on loan for. He's joined Bolton as well on loan. And then Costel Pantilimon. Obviously, pretty sure he used to play at Man City, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember didn't he play in the derby against United once?
He probably did. He probably did.
Someone dropped Hart. It was like Pellegrini I think it's Pellegrini dropped Hart and played Pantilimon instead.
And Ashkan Dejaga.
Moves like Dejaga.
Yep, gotta like him. And Mustafa Carrello.
Oh, we had him, Mustafa Carrell.
Yeah.
The most championship right winger you'll ever see.
I can't say I've seen him. I can't say I've really seen him or noticed him before. But yeah.
That's what Navid actually played for us.
Ah, fair enough. So yeah, we're just sort of waiting. Slimani's now gone through. There's a photo that's gone up.
Andy King has now gone
We
through.
expected that. No real surprise. Andy King has gone through. Yeah. And Julian Ngoy.
Where's he going?
Has joined Walsall?
Walsall.
Yeah, he's joined Walsall.
That's not the.
Dan, you know how earlier speaking about West Ham and unprofessional.
Yeah.
Just scroll through my
Carry on.
West Ham's director of transfers, Tony Henry, stopped Raul by getting club don't want and any African players.
Hang on, one second. Go on, Josh. Start again, please.
West Ham's director of transfers, Tony Henry, sparks race row by admitting club don't want to sign any African players because they cause mayhem.
Wow, that's an interesting one there. Charlie, gut reaction.
Oh god, I feel like anything I say will incriminate me as much as I can
that's
incriminate himself.
slightly controversial, isn't it, to say the least?
Yeah, controversial is the word. Other people might use a different word, but yeah, go on, controversial.
Bearing in mind, obviously, that's a head of recruitment, I'm guessing. I think that was what you said. Head of transfers. I mean, if taking away the football side of it, if you're recruiting someone and that you use that as a preference, that's not going to go down very well. So yeah, interesting.
And we've actually gone and signed Huggle or whatever his name is.
It's done.
It's done.
The deal is done.
Yeah, it's actually done. Oh, Josh.
What an awful announcement
Speak
video.
to us, please.
That's such a.
I'm watching the video. There's a video. There's like a 6-second clip.
I've got an award. We need to. I know we're not an award show, but I have an award to give out.
Go on then.
Worst announcement video of all time goes to Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, why?
I've watched their announcement video for Lewis Grabban.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Lewis Grabban.
It's the worst video you'll ever see.
Is it
It's
that
not
bad?
even worth a video.
Like it's literally like someone walking into the office of where some director is, and asking on the guy's Alexa who Lewis Grabban plays for.
Oh dear. Do you reckon they've got some deal with Amazon for the Alexa?
God, I hope so. Some sort of reason for it.
Josh, then talk to us. Ugal, are you optimistic at all in any shape or form?
He's so going to score 15 goals for this.
He's muted himself. He's crying.
He's so going to do well now, though. Now that you hate on him, he's going to do well.
Yeah.
What I've seen him in the Championship when we were there, I think I caught a game a couple of weeks ago against Cardiff. The guy looks like a decent striker. I feel like to really hate on him isn't really fair on the guy.
I think it's more the fact that obviously given, and probably given what, as Josh sort of said, they moved to that stadium. They have been, and as a neutral, as someone who's not engrossed in all the West Ham media, I certainly get that perception that move was made to build the West Ham brand, take it that step further, and for them to be sort of scraping around, at one point linked with Giroud. I mean, Sturridge could have been another name as well that they may have been linked to, and to end up with Hugel is a bit of an odd one. You wouldn't have put money on that one, I don't think.
Yeah.
Let's hear from the man himself. Yeah,
let's find some club team. I'm done with David Gold. I'm done with David Sullivan.
So what would be your message? Would it be sell the club?
Get out of our club. And get someone in that cares and is going to push our club forward and invest money. And not sign Championship strikers for £9 million when they scored 15 goals throughout their career. That's not even in one season. That's across like 3 seasons. He doesn't score goals. Oh my life. I'm just so angry.
But Charlie, you say you've seen him and you wasn't you don't agree on I mean, as we was partially talking, the sort of you still think he's a good striker, you still think he's a good forward, yeah? If you're there, Charlie?
There you go, I'm here. Apologies.
Yeah, that's all right.
It muted itself. Yeah, the Premier League can be the making or the breaking of a striker, can't it, really? For every Jamie Vardy, you have a Cisco who used to play for Newcastle. Like this, he could step up and actually really drive forward now, because he doesn't, other than like Hernandez and Andy Carroll, who's injured for the rest of time. He's got the opportunity now to really grab it by the scruff of the neck and say, "This is who I am. This is how I play." And even if it's a case of bringing in other players and being a creator for other players, I think it's just worth waiting and seeing. And if he is abysmal, then he's abysmal. But yeah, I think it's kind of too early to judge with a player like that.
And Ben, what do you make of that signing then for West Ham?
It's a strange one. I mean, I can see why fans would be upset about it. I think, for the situation West Ham are in, kind of like the way that David Gold's actually been on Twitter publishing like list of all the injured players they've got. I'm just like, you're in the transfer window. Like, why don't you just go and buy some? Like, I don't get why he would do that. It kind of just makes himself look a bit stupid. And then at the end of all that, they've only ended up with like Jordan Hugill from an average Championship side. I think it is a bit of a letdown. I think he's not the kind of player that's gonna come in and make an instant impact either. He's gonna have to take time to settle in, and with such negativity around that club, and kind of like, if they're going to be dragged into a relegation battle, that's not really going to be like a great way for him to kind of settle in, trying to find his feet in the Premier League. So, yeah, I'm not convinced by the signing, to be honest.
Okay, we did mention a bit earlier that Ben Watson had left Watford and was on a free, and well, he's now turned up at Nottingham Forest. So there's Ben Watson's moved there. And yeah, I mean, they're not finished yet, because Nottingham Forest is still thought to be securing the deal of Jack Colback. Just sort of waiting for that one to come through. And Didier Ndong, I just missed, for some reason it's not showing. I'm guessing he went to, was it Watford?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, because it went too fast, so I missed it. But I know he's left Sunderland on a loan for the remainder of the season, and I'll have to have a look to see if there's an option to buy. But
yeah, there is.
Cool, thank you. And yeah, I understand that Chris Coleman's not too pleased on that one, really, in general, but it had to be done. So,
Hopefully frees up funds wage-wise.
yeah, I mean, obviously there's a worry because Sunderland are down that bottom end of the table, and he's obviously a very, very good player. But yeah, I mean, it frees up the wages, doesn't it? Really.
So there's a loan fee as well.
Yeah, you would imagine they'll get something from that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We'll see. So yeah, Nottingham Forest have been very active, haven't they? Very, very active.
Yeah, it seems weird that they've been this active and they're 13 points off the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
They're kind of marooned in mid-table. I'm sure if Max was here, so let's get a bit past his bedtime.
Max is probably well up there. He's probably bouncing around with excitement. So yeah, fair play to him. Fair play to him.
I always find it strange clubs wait so long though. You find that they've brought in like 5 players now on deadline day. I just find it strange they wait so late to do their business.
We did this though. We did this a few years ago. We brought in 5 players on deadline day, and some of them were good, some of them were bad, and some of them I can't even remember. And I think actually, isn't it? Yeah, it's almost desperation, isn't it? It's admitting that you haven't done the business, you haven't done your business the right way, especially doing it on deadline day in January.
Oh, completely, yeah. It's such a risk, but sometimes you just feel you're so desperate, you just have to do anything.
Yeah, and one deal that's also gone through is Cyrus Christie, who's joined Fulham from Middlesbrough for an undisclosed fee. So there's another one that's gone through. I don't know if any of you guys have had the chance to see him play.
Who's that, sorry?
Cyrus Christie.
Oh, the right back.
Believe so, yeah.
I've always rated him. I think he's quite a good player.
So quite a shrewd bit of business.
Yeah, so who's it? Was it Fulham?
Yep, yeah, he's gone to Fulham.
Yeah. Does that mean that there's any movement with Sessegnon? Because that would certainly be
no, wrong side.
That's very true, very true.
I'd just like to say another great video of the day that's mocking Brighton. This evening, running into the end of the window, is our pursuit of Nick Powell at Wigan. And they've posted a video of if anyone's seen The Wolf of Wall Street, where he says he's not leaving in no uncertain terms. And they put that up, and as much as I'm not really annoyed, but it's just quite witty, and that's how you should do it.
Yeah. One club who's been very quiet. I don't know about you guys. I mean, obviously there's been rumours and stuff, but I haven't seen much on them. Crystal Palace.
Sorry, every time you say that name again, don't say that name again, it'll make me laugh.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of their window, Josh? We'll start with Josh. Because I'm struggling to think what they've really done, and I hear that they fans are after a striker.
Did they even sign anyone?
They've signed Freddie. No, they haven't.
Alexander.
Sorry?
The Norwegian striker from Midtjylland.
There you go.
Alexander Sorloth. I don't expect you to know who that is, by the way. That's just the name.
Yeah, I don't think they've done any. That wasn't today, was it?
Yeah,
was it today?
Was
in just now.
Apparently, that's the rumor. That's what Sky Sports
rumor. Okay,
I might be wrong.
But, I think they've been really quiet. I don't know about you guys. I think they've
for someone in there, they've been very quiet.
Yeah, they're normally really active. So that's
they were interested in that same midfield that West Ham were interested in.
The one
is it Ibrahim Amadou? Yeah, that's fallen through though. Apparently.
What about going back to West Ham? Josh, what's his name? Don Decker?
Oh yeah.
Or Dendoncker, or whatever his name was. I can't remember his name.
Dendoncker, yeah, his name's Dendoncker. That's good enough.
Whatever happened to him?
Well, they wanted good money for him, and we aren't willing to pay that. So I'm sorry, I've gone really blunt. I'm just
No. Listen,
Best policy.
Alexandre Lacazette and Olivier Giroud, and now we've just signed some idiot from the Championship.
You got Watford striker Isaac Success also joined Malaga a little bit earlier on loan. For anyone who missed that one was that one I think was announced earlier in the day. So
Danny, I just see that Rolando Aarons has joined. Oh, who was it? It was an Italian side.
Hellas Verona.
Hellas Verona on loan. That's an interesting one.
go on, expand. Why is it interesting?
An Englishman going abroad. Don't see that often.
Yeah, it's funny because we was talking about that when we was talking about English players, young English players going abroad, but English players in general going abroad. Do you think that's a good thing for the player at all? I mean, bearing in mind you got Reece Oxford, who I know you hold out, you don't think it's going to come back or whatever, but do you think it's good for the player?
I think it does them good to get away from England for a bit. And also, they're more likely to get minutes out there, I think. More culture, I suppose. Obviously, you see Joe Hart. I know it didn't work out for him for footballing reasons, but he said he really enjoyed his time in Italy. So, hopefully, Aarons can do the same thing. He broke onto the scene at Newcastle and hasn't really kicked on since. So no, I think it's him desperate to try and revitalise his career. So it's good to see that level of hunger that he's willing to go and work away from England as well.
Yep, very true. One I'm still trying to keep an eye out for is Mitrovic. I want to see what's going to go on with him because there's still rumours that he may go to Fulham on loan after his Anderlecht deal fell through. So yeah, boys, just keep your eyes out for that one as well, if you could, because I certainly know Jake in particular is waiting anxiously. I'm not sure with Mitrovic. I don't think he's. I think he's a big name, but I don't think he's really delivered. But
yeah,
that's great. His temperament lets him down.
Yeah. He comes with a lot of baggage, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think that's what actually put us off going after him in any sort of real terms. I think we tried to get a bargain. He said no, and we.
I mean, if you are carrying all that excess baggage, you've got to be worth it on the pitch, and
yeah,
he hasn't really delivered for Newcastle, and so no, it's a shame because I do like him, but listen, if
it's just been confirmed. Sorry,
is it
been confirmed? Yeah, Mitrovic to on loan to Fulham.
Yeah, wow,
good signing. Yeah, Jake's just retweeted it now. You're talking about Jake.
Yeah, he has as well. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think
he's just a bit sour that they bought a striker and
yeah. I mean, I would have taken him at Norwich, because we need a striker. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really seen enough of him in English football to warrant to say that's a really good signing. Oh, that's not a great signing.
He's on fire for the Serbian national team. That's the weird thing about him.
Yeah, you see, that's what this whole experience might do him some good, playing at a different team, because sometimes it just doesn't work out at clubs, does it? So, another one that's just come through as well. Jack Colback has gone on loan to Forest for the remainder of the season. What do you guys think of that?
I rate that callback higher than most people, so I feel like I'm already probably slightly deluded on that front.
Ben, what do you think?
I don't know. It's really. I mean, to be fair, I'm not surprised Colback left Newcastle. Man, I can't believe he stuck around as long as he did. I mean, when was the last time he actually played a football match? In terms of Forest trying to go after him, I think they'll just take anyone, won't they? At the minute, I'm sure the Championship is much more his level than the Premier League. See how he goes.
See how he goes. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the last one. I'd say bottom half Championship player. I don't really rate him. Don't see what he offers. Just one of those midfielders that passes sideways and back, which is, every team needs one of them. But
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Dale Stevens.
Pardon?
Nothing wrong with Dale Stevens. He does a good job.
Oh, Dale Stevens is superb, but Jack
Good boy.
Colback is crap. Yeah, I don't rate Jack Colback. He doesn't offer a lot of protection, I feel, in the midfield for a defensive midfielder. So, yeah, Championship, I think, is more of his level.
Okay. Well, we're almost at the end, gents. So thank you very much for your time, as always. Andrew's just joined. If he's
All right.
All right, Andrew. Just in the nick of time, talk to us about Newcastle's business this transfer window.
What business?
What business? Well, you've offloaded Colback and Mitro.
Yeah, both. They're pretty good for me, like, I'm not going to lie. Colback, I don't rate at all, and same with Mitro, really. But Kennedy, he looked pretty good tonight, though.
That was what I was going to ask, actually. So, like, overall, how would you rate Kennedy and the business you've done? I know you've offloaded a few, but just in general, how would you rate it all, say, out of 10?
Probably a 6 or a 7. Probably should have, like, got better players in, if you know what I mean. Like, we're linked with goalkeepers left and right. We signed some guy from Sparta Prague on loan. No idea. Kennedy was a brilliant player, but it's just whether he's going to get the chance here, which he should after tonight. And Slimani, I just hope doesn't turn into another Doumbia situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, surely you've got to be excited by that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Slimani. Yeah.
We were on fire tonight. It's just we had Joslu up front, who I don't even know how to describe.
Okay. We're pretty much about to finish. I just want to go around the panel and just sort of sum up what's been your sort of key moment, your highlight from today, if you had to pick a highlight. So whether that's Aubameyang moving to Arsenal, whether it's, I don't know, Josh coming on and finding that West Ham has signed Hugel. Literally anything. It could have been something that didn't happen, sort of fell through. Just tell me your highlight from today. So let's start off with Josh then.
Giroud moving to Chelsea just because Arsenal strengthening their rivals is funny.
There you go. Essay, if you're there.
He's not there.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. I believe.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good man. Fire away.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Okay.
Sorry.
It's
I
all right.
was on out for a bit.
Obviously.
I mean, we got so close. Okay, no worries. So it was basically like, what's been your highlight from deadline day? I'll go round everyone else and I'll come back to you. So I'll give you some thinking time. Yeah, I'll give you some thinking time on that. Charlie, what's been your highlight?
Ajawa coming back on. They're coming on against Southampton. It was the return.
Okay, fair enough. Ben?
Probably the shock of Arsenal actually signing a good player and not leaving it till about 1:15 at night. They actually signed him in good time as well. I was just in shock listening to the news.
Oh, there we go. And Andrew?
Kennedy's performance tonight. Without him, we probably would have lost at the end.
There you go. So exciting times there. And finally, Essay, finish it off for us.
Highlight of the transfer window is the swap deal between Mkhitaryan and Sanchez.
That's a pretty good deal for a mid-table club.
And on that note, boys, I'd like you guys, we'll just go round again. Just share your socials just so anyone can follow you and follow up the debate. So we'll start off with Josh again.
At TFF Josh on Twitter.
Okay. And SA?
At A9608YE.
Charlie?
At Charlie Pumphrey on Twitter.
Ben?
It's at BennyBoy0702.
And finally, Andrew?
At Acliff96.
Brilliant. And mine is at Danny Cook 1996. As I say, thank you very much for all coming on. I really do appreciate your time. You guys are what makes the show, and it's always an absolute laugh and a ball just hearing your views and opinions. So thank you guys so much for your efforts this evening.
I'm knackered. I don't know how I coped.
Yeah, Andrew,
it would just be typical that we had a game about 3 hours before deadline, wouldn't it?
You have a rest, man. You have a rest. But no, I really do mean it. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate that. So yeah, thank you.
That's right.
And that's all. That's all for the January 2018 transfer deadline day stream with the Football Forecast in association with Crowford Media and halftimecuppa.com. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you all very much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you in the warm weather in the summer. So until then, goodbye.
See ya.